for a moment and notice how you are really feeling right now. Maybe your mind is crowded. Maybe your chest feels heavy. Maybe you are tired in a way that sleep alone has never fully fixed. You may have been carrying so much for so long that you have almost forgotten what it feels like to truly rest. Tonight you do not have to be strong. Tonight you do not have to pretend that everything is fine. Tonight you are allowed to put everything down. This is not just another video. This is an invitation. An invitation to step out of the noise of the day and into a quieter world inside yourself. A world where you do not need to prove anything. A world where you are not judged. A world where your heart is finally allowed to exhale. As you listen to this story, you are not asked to do anything. You are not asked to fix yourself, to understand every word, or to follow any complex instruction. All you are asked to do is to be here, to lie down or sit comfortably, to feel the weight of your body supported, to let your breath slow little by little, and to allow the story to carry you. Because this is more than a story. It is a gentle journey inward, a journey through forests and rivers, through mountains and quiet gardens, a journey through places that exist outside of you, and places that have always existed inside your own heart. Along the way, you will meet parts of yourself you may have forgotten, the tired part that has been holding everything together, the wounded part that never had the chance to speak, the soft part that still believes in love, even after everything that has happened, the wise part that has been quietly waiting for you to listen. You do not have to force any of this. The story will do the work for you. Its pace is slow and kind, like a friend walking beside you on a quiet evening. With every scene, with every breath, your body will be invited to relax a little more. Your mind will be invited to loosen its grip. Your heart will be invited to trust just enough to open. You may notice moments when your thoughts wander. That is all right. Let them drift like clouds across the sky, and when you are ready, gently return to the sound of the voice and the images forming in your mind. This is not about control. This is about allowing your nervous system to soften, allowing your shoulders to drop, allowing your heart to be seen, even if only by you. There may be parts of this story that feel strangely familiar, even if you have never heard it before. That is because the path in this story is also the path of every human heart that has ever longed for peace. The details are different, but the essence is the same. We all know what it means to feel lost. We all know what it means to carry too much. We all know what it means to look for a place where we can finally rest and feel like we are enough. Tonight, this story can be that place for you. As you listen, you may feel emotions rise quietly to the surface. You may feel a lump in your throat, a warmth in your chest, or a gentle ache that you cannot quite name. Let them be there. You are safe now. You are not broken for feeling deeply. You are not weak for needing rest. You are human. And this entire journey is here to honor that. Let each word be like a hand on your shoulder, steady and kind. Let each pause be a breath of space where your soul can stretch out and relax. Let each image guide you deeper into a landscape where you can remember who you are beneath the stress, the fear, the expectations, and the noise. If you wish, you can think of this story as a soft lamp in a dark room. You do not need to rush toward it. You do not need to stare at it. You only need to allow its light to reach you gently in its own time. As you settle in, feel your body growing heavier and your mind growing lighter. Feel the day loosening its hold on you as if it is sliding away, step by step, with every breath out. You have arrived at a moment that belongs only to you. A moment where you do not need to be anyone but yourself. A moment where healing does not have to be dramatic to be real. It can be as simple as breathing, as simple as listening, as simple as allowing your heart to be here. So take one more slow, deep breath in. Hold it gently for a moment, and then let it go fully. Let your eyes soften or close. Let your jaw relax. Let the weight of your body sink into the bed, the chair, or the floor beneath you. The world can wait. Your thoughts can rest. For now, there is only you, your breath, and this path that is about to unfold. When you are ready, step with me into the first moment of the journey. It begins with a single quiet truth. Peace is not far away. It has been waiting inside you all along. Now together let us walk toward it. There are moments in life when everything becomes too heavy to carry. The mind feels crowded, the heart feels tired, the world presses in from every side, and even the smallest noise feels like a weight. It is in moments like these that a quiet truth begins to whisper inside us. It says that peace is not somewhere far away. It is not hidden in a future we must chase. It is here, waiting beneath the noise, beneath the tension, beneath the rush of daily life. Peace is not something we earn. Peace is something we remember. And so this journey begins with a single breath, a breath that leads you softly back to yourself, a breath that reminds you that you are alive, that you are present, and that you are allowed to rest. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a long and quiet path. There is no need to hurry. There is no destination to reach. This path is not a race, and no one is waiting to judge how quickly or how perfectly you walk it. This is your path, and it begins with stillness. As you take the first step, you feel the ground under your feet. The earth holds you gently as if it has been waiting for you a long time. The air around you is calm. The light is soft. Nothing asks anything of you. Nothing pulls you forward or backward. Everything simply allows you to be here just as you are. In the silence of this moment, you begin to notice something deeper. The mind, which used to run in every direction at once, begins to slow. Thoughts drift like clouds across an open sky. They come and go, and you no longer feel the need to chase them. You do not have to fix them. You do not have to fight them. You only watch them with gentle curiosity, as if seeing them for the first time. This is the beginning of awareness. This is the beginning of freedom. As you walk further along the path, memories rise one by one. Some are soft and warm. Some are heavy and difficult. But each memory, no matter how painful or bright, is simply a thread in the story of your life. You do not need to push them away. You do not need to hold on to them either. You simply allow them to pass through your mind like a quiet stream moving across smooth stones. With each breath, the weight they once carried becomes lighter. You begin to feel space opening inside you, a space that has always been there but was covered by layers of worry, expectation, and noise. The path leads you to a small clearing where the sunlight falls gently across the ground. In the center of this clearing stands an old wooden bench. You sit down on it and feel the wood beneath you warm from the sun. The world feels simple here. Nothing needs to be solved. Nothing needs to be explained. You close your eyes for a moment. As you do, you sense a stillness rising around you, a stillness that touches every part of your being. This stillness is not the absence of sound. It is the absence of struggle. It is the deep knowing that you are allowed to rest. A soft breeze moves across your face. With it comes a memory of something you heard long ago. That suffering does not come from life alone, but from the stories we tell ourselves about life. You think of all the times you tried to control everything, all the times you held on too tightly, all the moments you believed you had to be perfect or strong or unshakable just to be worthy of peace. And now, sitting in the quiet of this clearing, you begin to see how heavy those beliefs have been. Like carrying a bag of stones you never needed to lift. The wind brushes through the leaves above you. Each leaf moves freely. None of them tries to hold its place in the tree forever. None resists the breeze. They sway, they dance, and one day they let go. You watch them drift down, landing softly on the earth, and a simple truth settles into your heart. Peace is not found in holding on. Peace is found in allowing life to move, allowing yourself to feel, allowing your heart to open even when it is afraid. As you breathe in deeply, the air fills your chest with warmth. When you breathe out, you feel the tension leaving your shoulders. Every breath becomes an invitation to be more present. Every breath becomes a reminder that you are safe. You are not behind in life. You are not late. You are here, and this moment is enough. You sit in the clearing a while longer, letting your thoughts settle like dust floating down through sunlight. You begin to understand why you came here. Not to escape your life, not to run from your pain, but to learn how to meet your life with softness. To learn how to see yourself with kindness. To learn how to breathe again. As the light shifts, a new feeling awakens in you. A quiet sense of curiosity. You wonder what lies ahead on this path. You wonder what lessons will rise gently to meet you. You wonder how much of yourself you will uncover as you continue walking. For the first time in a long time, you feel ready. Not ready in the sense of having all the answers, but ready in the sense of trusting yourself enough to take the next step. You rise slowly from the bench. The clearing seems to glow with a soft golden light. As you take a step forward, you feel a gentle shift inside you, as if something has begun to turn. Not dramatically, not loudly, but quietly, like a door opening somewhere deep within. You walk back to the path with a sense of calm you did not have before. The journey ahead is unknown, but instead of fearing it, you welcome it. You understand that you do not need to know every turn or every ending. You only need to stay present. You only need to take each step with awareness, with kindness, with trust. And so you continue down the path, your breath steady, your heart lighter, your mind open. Something inside you whispers that this is just the beginning. A beginning shaped not by force, but by softness. Not by fear, but by truth. As you walk into the next chapter of your journey, the path before you becomes a quiet invitation. An invitation to keep going, to keep breathing, to keep opening to the gentle wisdom waiting within you. You continue walking along the quiet path, feeling the world shift gently around you. Something inside you feels different now, a little lighter, a little more awake, as if a thin layer of fog has finally begun to lift. The air carries a soft, earthy scent. The light moves through the branches above you like water flowing through stained glass. And for a moment you feel as though the world itself is breathing with you. As the path curves, you notice an old tree standing alone near a bend. Its trunk is wide and worn, with deep lines running across its bark like the wrinkles of a wise elder. Some branches are broken, Some leaves have fallen, yet the tree stands steady, grounded, unshaken. You feel drawn to it as if it has been waiting for you. You rest your hand on the rough bark. The tree does not change. The wind does not shift, but something inside you softens. You realize that this tree has weathered storms far harsher than the ones you carry inside you. It has lost branches. It has stood through winters that stripped it bare. But it has also welcomed spring each time life returned to its roots. Without judgment, without resistance, without fear, the tree becomes a mirror. And in that reflection, you begin to see yourself more clearly. You think of the storms you have weathered, the moments when everything felt too heavy, the nights you lay awake, overwhelmed by thoughts that would not quiet, the days you forced yourself to smile because you believed that strength meant showing no weakness. You remember the times you hid your sadness to avoid being a burden. The times you swallowed your truth because you feared it might push people away. The times you carried pain in silence because you believed you had to. Standing before the tree, you feel the weight of all those stories. Not as a punishment, not as a regret, but as a simple truth. A truth that shaped you but does not define you. You press your palm more firmly against the bark. The tree stands, patient and unmoving. It teaches you something without speaking. You can survive storms without becoming the storm. You can carry pain without letting it harden you. You can be wounded and still grow. You can let go of what no longer belongs the way the tree lets go of its leaves when their time is past. You take a deep breath. The air feels different now. Lighter, softer. When you release the breath, you imagine letting go of something small, a single worry that has lingered too long. Perhaps it is a thought that never brings peace. Perhaps it is a memory that returns too often. Perhaps it is a fear that has shaped your choices without your consent. Whatever it is, you imagine it drifting away with your breath, dissolving into the quiet air. You do not need to know exactly how to release it. You only need to be willing. Release begins with willingness. You step back from the tree, your hands still warm from where it touched the bark. The path ahead seems to glow faintly as if inviting you to continue. As you walk, your mind drifts to a memory you carry. A moment when you felt broken in a way you could not put into words. At the time, it felt like the end of something important. Now, with distance and a softer heart, you see it differently. You see that you did not break. You changed. You became. And becoming is rarely gentle. You walk with this understanding for a while. The air remains calm. The path remains steady. And slowly you begin to remember a truth you once forgot. Healing does not happen all at once. It happens in small steps, in quiet moments, in the spaces between breaths. It happens when you stop trying to control every outcome. It happens when you stop demanding certainty from a world that is always moving. Farther along the path, you hear the faint sound of water. A gentle stream appears through the trees, sparkling as the light touches its surface. The current moves without effort. It slides over stones, around fallen branches, through narrow spaces, wide spaces, deep and shallow places. It does not resist. It simply moves. You kneel beside the stream and place your fingers in the cool water. It slips past your skin without hesitation. It does not cling. It does not stay. It keeps flowing, always moving forward, always finding its way. The stream becomes another teacher. It shows you that life is not something to control. It is something to move with, something to feel, something to trust. Every time you tried to hold on too tightly, you made your journey harder. Every time you resisted change, your heart grew tired. But when you allowed yourself to move, even in small ways, life responded. When you loosened your grip even a little, the world opened a bit more. You watch the water, you listen to it, you let it teach you. When you rise, you feel a renewed sense of clarity. You walk along the bank until the path returns, guiding you deeper into the forest. The light dims slightly as clouds drift overhead, but the air remains gentle. You notice how naturally the world shifts. How clouds come and go, how shadows move, how the temperature changes without warning. Yet nothing feels wrong. Nothing feels out of place. Everything moves in harmony, even in imperfection. You begin to wonder why you believed you had to be so rigid. Why you believed you had to be perfect. Why you believed you had to hold everything together alone. The world is not perfect. The world is not rigid. The world breathes, changes, adapts, and evolves, and so can you. As these thoughts settle inside you, a quiet insight begins to form. You realize that much of your suffering came not from the world, but from the way you tried to stand against it. You tried to carry what was too heavy. You tried to control what was meant to move. You tried to keep things the same when life was asking you to change. This understanding does not arrive with a dramatic flash. It arrives like a gentle truth that has been waiting patiently to be heard. You walk until you reach a small meadow where the grass bends softly under the breeze. The sky opens above you, wide and calm, carrying a light that feels warm even through the clouds. You step into the grass, letting it brush against your legs. The meadow feels like a resting place, simple, open, free. You sit down slowly. You breathe deeply. You let your body settle into the earth. And for the first time in a long time, you feel a sense of space inside your chest, as if something that once restricted you has softened and opened. As you rest in the meadow, you understand something important. You do not need to rush forward. You do not need to reach a certain point before you are allowed to rest. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to feel. You are allowed to be human. You let this truth settle inside you as gently as the breeze settling across the grass. After a quiet moment, you feel ready to continue. You rise, steady and calm. The path waits for you at the edge of the meadow. As you step toward it, you know the next chapter of your journey is calling. And so, with a lighter heart and a quieter mind, you walk forward to meet it. The path grows narrower as you leave the meadow behind. Trees rise on both sides, tall and quiet, forming a gentle archway above your head. Their branches sway in the light breeze, whispering softly as if sharing secrets with the wind. You walk slowly, taking in each detail. The shifting leaves, the earthy scent of soil and bark, the faint crunch beneath your steps. Everything around you feels alive, and in that aliveness, you begin to sense your own life more clearly. Not the outer life filled with tasks and expectations, but the inner life you often overlook. This part of the forest feels older. The roots twist like ancient stories carved into the ground. The air holds a stillness that seems almost sacred. With each step forward, the world feels quieter, deeper, more reflective. It is here, in this quiet space, that memories begin to rise again. Not as sharp wounds, but as gentle echoes. You remember the first time you felt truly afraid. Not the kind of fear that comes from sudden danger, but the fear that grows slowly inside the heart, whispering that you are not enough, that you must become someone else to be worthy of love, that your truth is too heavy or too strange to be accepted. You recall how you once believed those whispers, how you shaped yourself around them, how you built walls and wore masks, thinking they would keep you safe. As you walk deeper into the forest, you begin to understand something profound. Every human heart carries stories. Some stories strengthen us. Some stories wound us. Some stories guide us gently. Others trap us in places we no longer belong. And many of these stories were never ours to carry in the first place. The path leads you to a fallen log covered with soft moss. You sit down, feeling the cool texture beneath your fingers. You close your eyes and listen. The forest hums in a low, steady rhythm, like an ancient pulse. In this rhythm, you begin to hear something clearer, not the noise of past fears, but the truth beneath them. You realize that the fear you carried did not belong to you alone. It came from many places. From the words of people who were hurting, from a world that sometimes forgets gentleness, from moments when you were too young to understand that pain should not define your worth. You see now that the stories of your past were shaped by the hands of others, and you carried them because you thought you had to. A soft breeze brushes your face, almost like a hand offering comfort. You breathe it in. With each breath, you let a small piece of those old stories melt away. Not all at once, not with effort, simply with awareness. You open your eyes and stand again. The forest feels lighter now, or perhaps you are the one who has become lighter. The difference no longer matters. What matters is the growing softness in your chest. A softness that comes from seeing your own truth without judgment. You continue along the path until you reach a small stream. The water here is different from the stream you touched earlier. It is narrower, and the current moves more slowly. Sunlight filters through the branches and lands on the water in gentle patterns. You kneel beside it and watch the surface ripple with each breath of wind. As you gaze into the water, you notice your reflection. But it is not the reflection you expect. The face looking back at you seems softer, calmer. The eyes carry a depth that was not there before. The reflection does not show perfection. It shows presence. It shows honesty. It shows someone who is learning to trust themselves again. You lean closer and let the moment unfold. You begin to speak quietly, almost in a whisper, as if the forest itself is listening. I am allowed to exist as I am. The words feel simple, but they carry weight. The stream ripples, breaking your reflection for a moment, then forming it again. I am allowed to feel without hiding. The water shifts softly, as if agreeing with you. I am allowed to let go of stories that do not belong to me. Your voice settles into the quiet air. You do not need to say more. The truth has already landed inside you. You rise slowly. Your steps feel steadier now. You follow the path until the forest begins to open again, revealing a wide clearing filled with soft grass and scattered stones. At the center stands an old wooden shrine, its surface worn by sun and rain. It looks simple, humble, yet something about it feels deeply familiar, as if it has been waiting for you. You approach the shrine and gently place your hand on its surface. The wood is warm from the daylight. The warmth spreads through your palm, into your arm, and then into your chest. You feel grounded, as if the earth beneath you is supporting your entire weight with ease. You close your eyes and breathe deeply. In this moment, a memory of a story returns. A story you once heard but never truly understood. It told of a monk who carried a heavy burden for many years. He believed his burden made him strong. He believed that holding it close proved his dedication, his worth, his discipline. But one day, as he walked along a long and steep road, the burden became too heavy. He fell to his knees, exhausted. A teacher approached him and asked why he continued to carry something that caused so much pain. The monk answered that without it he would be nothing. The teacher smiled gently and said, "You are not the burden, you are the one who carries it. You can put it down." For years you did not understand. Now, standing before the shrine, you do. You have carried stories that did not belong to you. You have carried expectations that were never meant for you. You have carried fears that grew from old wounds, and even when these things hurt you, you kept them close because you believed you had to. You believed they defined you, you believed they were yours. But the truth is simple. You are not the stories. You are the one who carries them, and now you are allowed to put them down. You place your hand over your heart and breathe slowly. You imagine the weight inside you softening. You imagine it loosening its grip. You imagine it lifting, even if only by a fraction. You do not need to force anything. Letting go is not an act of strength. It is an act of compassion. Compassion for yourself, compassion for your journey, compassion for the human heart that has done its best for so long. You step back from the shrine and look at the sky. The light has shifted again. Shadows stretch across the ground in long, gentle lines. The world feels wider now, as if making space for the person you are becoming. You continue walking, feeling a quiet sense of readiness. Not readiness for perfection, not readiness to resolve every part of your life, but readiness to meet the next part of your journey with honesty and softness. As you move forward, you sense that the path is beginning to change again. Something new is waiting just beyond the next bend. And so, with your heart a little lighter and your mind a little clearer, you take the next step and step into the next chapter of yourself. The path ahead feels quieter, almost as if the forest itself is holding its breath. You walk slowly, sensing a subtle shift in the air. The trees stand taller here, their trunks straight and their branches reaching high into the sky. The light filters through in thin streams, creating patterns on the ground that move with every breath of wind. Each step carries you deeper into yourself, deeper into a part of your heart that you have not visited for a long time. As you walk, you sense something familiar rising. Not fear exactly, but an old presence, a shadow you once tried to ignore. It moves softly at the edge of your awareness, like a quiet whisper that has followed you through many years. You pause for a moment, placing your hand against your chest. Your heartbeat is steady, but your breath feels slightly heavier. You know this feeling. You have known it for most of your life. The path brings you to a small clearing where the ground is dark and the air feels unusually still. A large stone sits in the center, smooth on the top and worn at the edges. It looks like a place where someone once came to sit and think, maybe to face something they could not face anywhere else. Something invites you to sit on the stone, and so you do. The clearing around you feels quiet but not empty. It feels like a space where truth reveals itself slowly, gently, without pressure. You close your eyes and take a deep breath. As you exhale, you feel the old presence step forward, the shadow inside you that you have carried since childhood. It is not a monster. It is not darkness in the way you once imagined. It is simply the part of you that has been wounded, the part of you that did not receive what it needed, the part of you that learned to hide. You feel it approach like a child stepping out from behind a door. It does not rush. It does not shout. It simply stands near you, waiting for you to notice it. And you do. You feel the heaviness it carries. You feel the sadness it has held silently. You feel the longing inside it, the longing to be seen, to be accepted, to be forgiven. For many years, you tried to outrun this shadow. You tried to bury it under achievement, under responsibility, under the image of strength. You believed that the best way to move forward was to leave behind the parts of yourself that frightened you. But now, sitting in this quiet clearing, you understand that the shadow was never your enemy. It was a part of you calling for compassion. You open your eyes and look into the clearing, imagining the younger version of yourself sitting across from you. Their posture small, their eyes uncertain, their voice soft. You feel an ache rise in your chest, not of pain, but of recognition. You speak gently, as if speaking to a child who has been waiting a very long time to hear your voice. "It's all right," you whisper. "You can come closer." The air warms slightly. You sense the shadow taking a step toward you. You feel the heaviness soften just a little. The younger version of you sits beside you on the stone, not in fear, but in longing. Longing to finally be acknowledged. You take another slow breath. You imagine placing your arm gently around this younger self. You speak softly, the words flowing without effort. "I see you. I know how hard it has been. I know how long you tried to be strong. I know how many moments you stayed quiet because you didn't want to upset anyone. I know how often you pretended you were fine when you were carrying more than you could hold. But you don't have to hide anymore. I am here. I will stay." The shadow softens even more. The younger self leans into you, not with desperation, but with trust. You feel a warmth spread through your chest like the glow of a gentle flame. This warmth is acceptance. It is the moment when you finally understand that healing does not come from pushing painful parts away. Healing comes from giving them a place to rest. You remain seated for a long time, holding this younger version of yourself with care. The clearing grows brighter. The leaves above you shimmer with soft light. You feel the forest watching with kindness. The world around you seems to breathe in harmony with your own breath. When the younger self begins to fade gently back into your heart, you do not feel loss. You feel integration. You feel whole. The shadow does not disappear. It becomes part of your light. It becomes part of your strength. It becomes part of the story that shapes you, not with pain, but with meaning. You rise from the stone slowly, feeling steadier than before. The path calls you again. You walk forward with a lighter step, not because your shadow is gone, but because it no longer walks behind you. It walks with you. As you continue, you notice how the forest begins to open. Sunlight stretches wider across the path. The air feels warmer, almost as if welcoming you into a new stage of your journey. You inhale deeply and feel a sense of expansion inside your chest. The world around you seems clearer. Colors appear sharper. The sounds of leaves and distant birds feel more alive. Something inside you has shifted in a quiet, powerful way. You begin to understand that healing is not a destination. It is a relationship with yourself. A relationship built through presence, through honesty, through patience. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to be healed in every corner of your soul. You only need to be willing to meet each part of yourself with kindness. This understanding becomes a soft truth settling into your heart as you reach a place where two paths merge into one. You pause for a moment, sensing the energy of this crossroads. It feels like a turning point, not in the physical world, but in your inner landscape. You step onto the unified path. It is wider than the one you walked before, and the ground feels smoother beneath your feet. The forest hums with a steady rhythm like a gentle heartbeat beneath everything. You continue walking, carrying the presence of your younger self within you, carrying the acceptance you have begun to cultivate, carrying the truth that the shadow is not a sign of weakness but a reminder of your humanity. The path extends before you with a soft glow. Something new awaits, something deeper, something that will ask even more of your courage but in a gentler way. You feel ready for it, and with this calm certainty settling inside your chest, you step forward once more, allowing the next part of your journey to unfold. The path widens as you move forward. The trees step back slightly, creating more space around you as if giving you room to breathe more deeply. The air feels cleaner here, fresh, quiet in a way that invites you inward. You walk slowly, not out of caution but out of choice. Each step feels deliberate, almost like a small ceremony. The ground beneath your feet is soft, and the wind carries a gentle hum that feels almost like a song. You can feel the difference inside you. Something that was tight has loosened. Something that was silent has begun to speak. Something that once felt far away now feels close. And as you continue along the path, you begin to realize that this part of the journey is not about moving forward. It is about learning how to listen. You come to a place where the forest thins and a large lake appears beyond the trees. The water is almost completely still, reflecting the sky like a wide mirror stretched across the earth. The surface moves only when the wind brushes lightly against it. The lake feels ancient, as if it has been here long before any human story began. Long before any name was spoken, long before any heart learned to fear. You walk to the shore and sit on a smooth stone beside the water. For a long time you do nothing but watch. The lake does not demand your attention. It simply exists, calm, present, unhurried. And as you breathe in the cool air drifting off its surface, you begin to sense a quiet within you that matches the stillness of the water. You close your eyes, the wind softens, your breath deepens, and slowly your mind begins to settle into silence. In that silence, something begins to rise. At first it feels like a whisper, a small, subtle pulse in your chest, a gentle tug, not painful, not heavy, but persistent, like the faint calling of a distant voice. You recognize this feeling. You have felt it before many times, but never long enough to listen. It is the voice of your own heart, not the heart shaped by worry, not the heart shaped by expectation, not the heart shaped by the needs of others, but the heart beneath all of that. The heart that has always known the truth even when you could not hear it. You breathe more slowly and allow the whisper to grow. It tells you that there were moments you betrayed yourself not out of malice, but out of fear. Moments you held back your truth because you thought silence would keep the peace. Moments you chose what others wanted because you were afraid of disappointing them. Moments you said yes when every part of you was begging to say no. Moments when you believed your worth depended on how much you could give. The whisper becomes clearer. It becomes a single sentence that settles inside you with surprising warmth. You deserve to be heard. The words echo through your chest like a soft bell ringing across a calm valley. You inhale deeply. You exhale slowly. And you allow yourself to feel the truth of those words. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to speak your truth without apology. You deserve to exist without shrinking. You deserve to feel without hiding. You deserve to stand where you are without asking for permission. The lake remains still, almost as if listening with you. and you realize something profound. The world listens when you listen to yourself. The world softens when you soften toward yourself. The world opens when you open your own heart. You look at the reflection of the sky on the water. Clouds drift across the surface, changing shape with every moment. The image reminds you that you too are always changing. All your feelings, all your stories, all your doubts, they move like clouds. They do not define the sky. They pass, and beneath them is something vast and steady. You stand and walk closer to the water. When you lean down, your reflection greets you once more. This time it looks different, stronger. Not in the sense of being unbreakable, but in the sense of being honest. You see a person who has learned to meet their shadow, to release old stories, to stand a little more gently in their own truth. As you look at your reflection, you place a hand over your heart. You feel the beat beneath your palm, steady and sure. You listen closely, not to your thoughts, but to the quiet feeling beneath them. And slowly a new truth rises inside you. The heart does not speak in words. It speaks in knowing. It speaks in the warmth that spreads through your chest when something is right. It speaks in the tightness that appears when something is wrong. It speaks in the calm that comes when you move in the direction meant for you. It speaks in the discomfort that surfaces when you stray from yourself. You have ignored these signals many times. Not because you were careless, but because you were taught to trust everything except your own inner voice. But now, as you stand by the lake, you realize that the heart has never stopped speaking. You had simply forgotten how to listen. A soft breeze ripples across the water. Your reflection breaks, reforms, and breaks again. It reminds you that clarity does not mean perfection. Clarity means presence. It means showing up for yourself in each moment, no matter how imperfectly. You sit once more on the stone and close your eyes. You listen again. This time, the voice inside is not a whisper. It is steady, confident, calm. It says you are allowed to choose what is right for you. You breathe deeply. The tension in your shoulders loosens. The tightness in your stomach fades. You feel space opening inside your mind as if a window has finally been unlocked. You are allowed to choose rest. You are allowed to choose softness. You are allowed to choose truth. You are allowed to choose yourself. As this understanding settles into your chest, you realize that listening to your heart is not about finding the perfect answer. It is about honoring the feeling within you that quietly guides you toward what brings peace. You stand again, feeling a gentle steadiness move through you. The lake remains silent, but you feel it has given you a gift. The gift of hearing your own inner voice clearly for the first time in a long time. You take one last look at the calm water and turn back toward the path. The forest awaits, warm and open. The air brushes lightly across your face as if encouraging you forward. You take the next step with a clearer heart, a softer mind, and a deeper trust in your own inner guidance. This path is beginning to feel different now. Not because the world has changed, but because you have begun to listen to the person who lives within you. And as you walk forward, you know the journey is far from over. The next chapter is waiting, and your heart is ready to meet it. The forest begins to shift again as you continue walking. The trees grow closer together, their branches weaving above you like a natural ceiling. Light filters through in soft, broken pieces, creating golden patches that flicker with each step you take. The air feels warmer here, almost protective, as if this part of the path holds something essential. Something meant just for you. You slow your pace without thinking. Something inside you becomes still, as if preparing for a moment you have been moving toward for a long time. The path curves gently, and suddenly through the trees you see a small wooden house. Its walls are old but cared for. The roof is weathered. Smoke rises gently from a chimney curling into the sky. The house sits in a clearing surrounded by wildflowers, their colors soft and muted in the afternoon light. You approach slowly, sensing that this place carries meaning. When you reach the small porch, you see a wooden sign hanging beside the door. The letters are faded but still readable. The sign says, "Here, all things can be forgiven." You hold your breath for a moment. The words settle into your chest with surprising weight. Forgiveness. It is a simple word but heavy in memory. You know there is a reason this house appeared now. You know there are things inside you waiting to be acknowledged. Things you tried to forget. Things you tried to bury. Things you never allowed yourself to forgive. You push the door open gently. It creaks, but not in a way that feels unwelcoming. Inside, the room is quiet and warm. A single lantern sits on a small table, casting a soft glow across the wooden walls. The air smells faintly of cedar and something sweet, like dried herbs. There is only one chair in the center of the room. It faces a small window that looks out onto the forest. You walk toward it slowly and sit down. As you settle into the chair, the weight of the sign outside echoes inside your mind. Here, all things can be forgiven. You say the words silently. You let them settle. The room holds its silence gently, almost lovingly. It feels like a place where truths can finally be spoken after years of being locked away. You take a breath and allow your heart to open even just a little. At first, nothing comes. Your thoughts move in slow circles. You wonder if you are ready for this part of the journey. You wonder if forgiveness is something you truly understand. Then slowly, something rises from within you. Not a memory, but a feeling. A small ache in your chest, familiar but unspoken. You realize there is someone you need to forgive, yourself. You close your eyes and breathe deeply. You let the truth form gently. You remember the times you were unkind to yourself. The times you judged yourself harshly for mistakes you made when you were hurting. The times you held yourself to standards that no human could meet. The times you abandoned your own needs to meet the expectations of others. The times you silenced your own voice because you believed it did not matter. The times you punished yourself for carrying pain you did not create. The times you told yourself you were behind or broken or not enough. You feel the ache deepen, not as pain meant to hurt you, but pain meant to be released. In the quiet of the wooden house, you speak softly into the warm air. I forgive you. The words feel fragile at first, like stepping onto ice that may or may not crack, but you repeat them gently. I forgive you for trying so hard. I forgive you for not knowing better. I forgive you for the mistakes you made while trying to survive. I forgive you for carrying burdens that were too heavy. I forgive you for being human. A warmth spreads through your chest. It is soft, steady, unexpected. You feel something loosen inside you, something that has been tightly held for far too long. Tears rise quietly, not dramatic, not overwhelming, just honest. You let them fall. They feel like rain on dry soil. They feel like a beginning. You place a hand over your heart, breathing slowly. You whisper again, I forgive you. And the words settle more deeply this time, reaching places within you that have remained untouched by gentleness for many years. But forgiveness does not end with yourself. There is another weight in your chest, a weight shaped by the actions of others. People who hurt you, people who failed you, People who didn't know how to love you or didn't know how to stay or didn't know how to see your truth. The thought brings a small tremor through your body. Forgiving others does not mean forgetting. It does not mean accepting harm. It does not mean pretending everything was fine. It means freeing yourself from the grip of old pain. It means loosening the chains that tie you to moments long gone. You breathe deeply. Slowly, faces come to mind. Some bring sadness, some bring disappointment, some bring anger. But as each face appears, you imagine placing a single sentence between you and them. I release you, not out of weakness, but out of strength. Not because they deserved your forgiveness, but because you deserve your own freedom. Each time you whisper, I release you, something inside you softens, the weight lightens, the ache loosens. You begin to understand that forgiveness is not a gift for them. It is a gift for you. When the last face fades, you feel a calm settle through your body like warm light sinking into your bones. You rest your head against the back of the chair. You breathe deeply again. The air feels different now. Clearer. Kinder. You open your eyes and look around the room. It feels brighter than before, as if the walls themselves have softened. As though by forgiving yourself and releasing others, you have made more space for light inside you. You stand slowly and walk toward the door. When you step outside, the forest feels transformed. The clearing is filled with a gentle golden glow. The wildflowers sway in the wind as if welcoming you back. You look at the wooden sign once more. Here, all things can be forgiven. This time, the words feel true in a way they didn't before. You have forgiven, you have released, and you have made space for something new. You step off the porch and return to the path. Your heart feels lighter than it did when you arrived. Your breath feels easier, your steps feel clearer. As you walk forward, you sense the journey deepening again. The next chapter is calling. A chapter not about healing the past, but about discovering the strength you carry now. And with the softest sense of readiness, you continue walking into the unfolding light of your own becoming. You move forward along the path with a heart that feels softer and yet stronger than before. The weight you carried into the house of forgiveness has lifted, leaving behind a quiet space inside you. It is not empty. It is open. It is spacious in a way that makes each breath feel deeper, each step feel clearer, each heartbeat feel certain. The air around you seems to echo that change. It feels lighter, almost as if the forest itself recognizes that something within you has shifted. The path grows brighter as the trees begin to thin. Sunlight pours through the canopy in warm streams, touching the ground with a golden glow. You walk slowly, letting the warmth settle into your skin. With each step, you feel a growing sense of stability, the kind that comes not from certainty but from trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the journey, trust in the unfolding. You reach a hillside covered in soft grass and small flowers. The colors are gentle, a blend of pale blues and soft whites scattered across the green. At the top of the hill stands a single stone archway, weathered by time but still standing firm. The arch looks ancient, as if it has watched generations pass and listened to countless stories whispered into the wind. You climb toward it slowly. Your breath deepens with each step, not from strain but from anticipation. The arch feels symbolic, as if crossing beneath it will mark a shift in your journey, a passage from one chapter into another. When you reach the top, you pause and rest your hand against the stone. The surface is cool, solid, unyielding. It carries the strength of time, the patience of the earth, the endurance of things that remain while everything around them changes. And as your fingers trace its surface, you begin to think about your own strength. For a long time, you believed that strength meant holding everything together. You believed strength was the ability to endure without breaking, to stay silent when your heart trembled, to keep moving even when your spirit felt tired. You believed strength was resilience without softness, endurance without vulnerability. But now, standing before the ancient archway, you begin to see strength differently. Strength is not the absence of pain. It is the willingness to feel it and still move forward. Strength is not the refusal to fall. It is the courage to rise each time you do. Strength is not hardness. It is the ability to stay open even when life has given you reasons to close. It is the ability to remain kind in a world that sometimes forgets kindness. It is the ability to be gentle with yourself when the world has been harsh. You breathe deeply and step beneath the archway. As you pass under it, the world seems to open. The landscape ahead stretches wide. Rolling hills, distant forests, a horizon painted in soft light. It feels like stepping into possibility. Not the loud, overwhelming possibility that demands everything at once, but the quiet kind that waits patiently for your next choice. You walk down the hill, and as you reach the valley below, you notice a path branching off in two directions. One path is worn, smooth from many footsteps. The other is narrow, barely visible, almost hidden beneath the grass. For a moment you stop and consider. The familiar part of you is drawn to the path most traveled. It feels safer, predictable, clear. But another part of you, the part that has been growing slowly in silence, feels drawn to the narrow path. You place a hand over your heart and listen. The voice within you does not shout. It does not command. It speaks in warmth, in intuition, in the quiet certainty that rises from deep within your chest. And something in that quiet voice tells you that strength sometimes means choosing the unknown. Strength means trusting your inner compass, even when the world cannot see where it leads. You take a breath and step onto the narrow path. The grass goes smooth beneath your feet. The air feels crisp. You walk slowly, feeling each movement as if you are learning how to walk again. Not with fear, but with presence. With each step you feel more rooted, more aware, more connected to the moment unfolding around you. As the path winds through the valley, you notice a series of stones placed at natural intervals, almost like stepping stones guiding you forward. Each stone is etched with a faint symbol, worn by weather but still visible. You stop at the first stone and kneel to inspect it. The symbol resembles an open hand. You stare at it and understand its message without needing words. An open hand is a gesture of release, a gesture of surrender, a gesture of trust. You place your own hand over the stone, and as you do, you feel a warmth rise through your palm. The warmth is subtle but unmistakable. It feels like encouragement. It feels like the stone itself is saying, "You are on the right path." You stand again and move forward. The next stone carries a different symbol, a feather, lightness, movement. A reminder that strength does not always come from force. Often strength is found in the ability to bend without breaking, to float above heaviness, to rise gently even when the world feels heavy. You touch the second stone and a small breeze sweeps past your face. You smile softly. The world seems to be speaking to you through simple signs, through subtle gestures that echo the lessons your heart already knows. You walk to the third stone. This symbol is a flame, small, delicate yet steady. The flame represents the inner fire that keeps you going. Not the burning of anger or urgency, but the quiet fire of purpose. The flame that stays alive even when the world grows cold. The flame that lights your path from within. You touch the third stone, and a warmth spreads through your chest. You realize that your inner fire has been with you all along, through pain, through confusion, through loneliness, through fear. It has never gone out. It only grew dim when you forgot to look for it. You continue walking, feeling increasingly grounded in the truth that strength is not something you must create. Strength is something you uncover by listening, by trusting, by forgiving, by opening, by breathing. Strength grows quietly when you stop running from yourself. The path leads you toward a grove of trees where the light softens and the air becomes cooler. In the center of the grove stands a tall stone pillar covered in moss. At the top, a single carved symbol shines clearly. A circle. The circle is perfect in its simplicity. No beginning, no end, complete. You walk toward it slowly, sensing the meaning before the mind tries to explain it. The circle represents your journey, the way your life moves in rhythms, the way pain and healing curve back toward each other, the way every beginning grows from something that once ended, the way you yourself are whole even when you feel broken. You place your hand on the pillar. It feels steady and alive. You breathe deeply and let your heart receive the message. You are not broken. You are not unfinished. You are not behind. You are whole even as you continue to grow. A sense of calm surrounds you. You step back from the pillar and look around the grove. It feels like a sanctuary. A place where strength is not something to prove, but something to remember. You turn back toward the path. You know there is more ahead, not more to accomplish, but more to discover. You feel steady, you feel ready, and with a quiet confidence rising inside you, you continue forward, letting the next chapter of your journey unfold. You leave the quiet grove behind, carrying its calm strength within you. The air feels different now. Every breath seems clearer, every sound more distinct, every sensation more real. You are not trying to change anything. You are not trying to reach somewhere else. You are simply here, and somehow that feels like enough. The path narrows as it moves downhill. The ground becomes slightly damp, and the scent of water grows stronger with each step. Soon you hear it, the low, constant murmur of a river flowing somewhere ahead. Not loud, but steady. Not rushing in chaos, but moving with a kind of gentle determination. You follow the sound until the trees open and the river appears beside you, wide and alive. The water runs over smooth stones, splitting around small islands of moss and grass. Light shimmers across its surface, dancing in endless patterns. You stand at the edge of the bank and watch. The river moves forward without hesitation. It never tries to go backward. It never argues with the stones in its way. If something blocks it, it simply curves around, finds another path, and continues. You realize in that moment how many times you have fought with life, insisting that it should flow differently than it does. You remember moments when you resisted change, when you clung to what had already ended, when you demanded answers before you were ready to live them. You see now that all that resistance did was tire you. The river does not resist. It moves. It listens to gravity, to the shape of the earth, to the quiet pull of a distant sea it has never seen but somehow knows it is meant to reach. You step closer and kneel, placing your fingertips in the cool water. It moves past your skin without changing its flow. It does not stop for you, and yet it includes you. You are not separate from it. For a moment, you close your eyes and imagine your life as a river. There have been fast currents and slow pools, clear stretches and muddy waters, calm days and storms. There have been sharp bends where you did not know what waited around the corner. There have been places where you felt stuck, as if your life had run into a wall. But now, as you listen to the sound of the water, you realize something important. Even when you felt stuck, you were still moving. Even when you could not see progress, something within you was learning, shifting, dissolving, becoming. Just like the river carving stone over many years, your heart has been quietly reshaping the landscape of your inner world. You have been changing even when you did not notice. You open your eyes and look at the far side of the river. Trees line the opposite bank, their roots reaching toward the water. Birds rest on branches that stretch out across the current. A fallen log lies partly submerged, its surface worn smooth by time and flow. Everything here is connected by the movement of the water. You begin to see that your life is not separate from the lives around you. You remember times when a kind word from someone changed the entire direction of your day. You remember moments when you offered comfort without thinking, and later realized how much it meant to the other person. You remember how your choices have touched others and how their choices have touched you. Just as every stone shapes the river's flow, every heart shapes the way life moves through the world. You stand and walk along the riverbank, letting its movement keep you company. With each step, you feel the truth of connection growing clearer. You are not an isolated being drifting alone. You belong to a larger movement, a living river of countless lives, each one influencing the others in ways visible and invisible. You pause at a place where the river widens into a calm pool. The water here is smoother, almost mirror-like, reflecting the sky and trees with soft clarity. You sit on a flat rock near the edge and watch the gentle ripples. In this quiet, a question rises inside you. It is simple, yet deep. How do you want to move through this river of life? Not what you want to achieve, not who you want to please, but how you want to be while you are here. You close your eyes and listen inward. The answer does not come as a list or a plan, it comes as a feeling. You want to move with kindness, you want to move with honesty, you want to move with presence. You want to live in a way that leaves more warmth than cold, more understanding than confusion, more peace than harm. You realize that this has nothing to do with perfection. The river is not perfect. It can flood and destroy. It can run dry in places. It can carry debris along with fresh water. But still, it moves. Still, it nourishes. Still, it supports life. In the same way, you are not asked to be perfect. You are asked to be real, to keep moving, to keep learning, to keep softening when you can, and to forgive yourself when you harden. You open your eyes and notice a small stone near your feet, half in the water and half on the shore. It is smooth, rounded by years of being tumbled in the current. You pick it up and feel its weight in your hand. It is small, but solid. A piece of the earth reshaped by movement. You turn it over between your fingers and suddenly understand why it feels important. This stone is like your heart. It has been shaped by everything it has passed through. Each experience, each joy, each loss, each fear, each act of love has smoothed its roughness. The stone is not what it once was, but it is not broken. It is simply changed. You hold the stone for a while, then gently place it back at the edge of the water. You do not throw it away. You return it to the river, allowing it to continue its journey. You realize that in the same way, you do not need to throw away your past. You do not need to erase your experiences or pretend they did not happen. You can place them gently in the flow of your life, allowing them to become part of your wisdom instead of your prison. As you stand again, you feel a deep calm spreading through your body. You follow the river a little longer until the path begins to rise away from the water. Each step takes you higher, and as you climb, you occasionally look back. From above, the river looks like a silver line moving through the land, bending and curving but never stopping. You know that you too will continue to move. You will face new challenges, new joys, new unknowns. But now, you carry a different understanding. You do not stand outside of life watching it happen to you. You are part of its movement. You are part of its rhythm. And just like the river, you can trust the direction, even when the distance is unclear. Eventually, the path leads you to a high point overlooking the valley. You can see where you walked, where the forest opened, where the small house stood, where the grove and the archway and the lake appeared along the way. It all fits together now. Not as random scenes, but as steps in a single unfolding journey. Your journey. You take a slow breath and feel gratitude rising from a deep place inside you. Gratitude for every part of the path, even the difficult ones. Gratitude for every pause, every shift, every lesson. Gratitude for your own heart, which never stopped trying, even when you doubted it. You stand there for a while, letting the view imprint itself gently into your memory. This is not the end of the journey. It is simply a place to pause, a place to look back and see how far you have come, a place to gather your strength for the path that still lies ahead. When you are ready, you turn away from the valley and face the direction the path continues. You do not know exactly what is waiting for you, but you know this: you are no longer walking as someone who is lost. You are walking as someone who belongs to this moment, to this earth, to the quiet river of life moving through all things. With a calm heart and steady steps, you begin to walk again, ready to meet what comes next. You continue along the rising path with the steady rhythm of someone who has begun to trust their own pace. The climb is not steep, but it is constant. The air grows cooler as you ascend. The trees become shorter. The wind grows stronger. Each shift in the landscape feels like a quiet reminder that change is the nature of every journey. You breathe steadily, your steps slow and grounded, your heart open to whatever waits ahead. Soon the forest thins, and the path brings you to a wide plateau where the mountain stands tall before you. Its shape rises with a calm, unshakable presence, ancient, patient, immovable. Clouds move lazily around its peak, brushing its sides like soft hands. The mountain does not speak, yet it seems to carry a wisdom deeper than any words could offer. You step onto the plateau and feel a stillness settle inside you. The wind brushes past your face, cool and steady. You stand at the foot of the mountain and simply observe it. Its enormity does not intimidate you. Instead, it grounds you. You realize that you have reached a place where the next part of your journey will not involve movement outward, but movement inward. The mountain is not here to challenge your strength. It is here to reflect it. You walk closer and find a narrow trail that winds gently upward. The trail is faint, not the kind many have walked. It feels personal, almost as if it forms as you take each step. You climb slowly, feeling the roughness of stone beneath your feet. The cool air on your skin, the quiet pulse of your heart guiding you in its steady rhythm. As you rise, the world behind you grows smaller. The valley becomes a soft painting of greens and blues. The river you followed earlier glistens like a silver thread. Everything looks peaceful from this height, as though distance brings clarity. You stop for a moment and let your breath settle. You sense that this climb is not just a physical ascent, but a symbolic one, a journey toward a higher perspective within yourself. You continue the climb until the trail brings you to a sheltered ledge halfway up the mountain. On the ledge rests a small stone hut, barely large enough for one person. Its walls are built from the mountain's own rocks. Its roof is covered with moss. A single opening serves as both window and door. The hut seems to have grown from the mountain itself, shaped by time and weather. You approach it, feeling a gentle pull of curiosity. When you step inside, you find the interior simple and bare. A woven mat lies on the floor. A small bowl rests in one corner. The air is cool and carries a faint scent of stone and wind. This hut feels like a place of solitude, a place where people come when they are ready to meet themselves without distraction. You sit on the mat and face the open doorway. From here you can see the sky, the distant valley, and the slow movement of clouds. The view is vast, but the space inside the hut is intimate, quiet and still. You take a long, steady breath, feeling the simplicity of the space settle into your body. For a while, nothing happens. You simply sit, listening to the wind move through the opening. You feel your breath move in and out. You feel your heart beat slow. The silence here is different. It is deeper, heavier, almost ancient in its stillness. Then slowly, thoughts begin to rise. Not the fast, tangled thoughts of worry or planning. These thoughts are slower, connected to deeper layers of your mind. They rise like soft shadows, each one carrying a quiet truth. You begin to see moments from your life, not as memories filled with emotion, but as reflections. You see the times you struggled to understand who you were supposed to be. You see the moments you felt alone even in the presence of others. You see the choices you made out of fear. You see the times you silenced your heart to fit into shapes that were never meant for you. You see the times you stayed where you no longer belonged because letting go felt too heavy. You watch these memories without judgment. The mountain does not judge. The hut does not judge. And here in this stillness, neither do you. You realize that every moment you are seeing, even the painful ones, shaped you. Not in the way that made you broken, but in the way that made you human. The mountain has cracks and scars along its surface, shaped by years of storms. Yet it stands tall. It stands with dignity. It stands without apology. You begin to understand that your own scars do not diminish you. They define the landscape of your strength. A soft tremor of emotion moves through your chest, not painful but clarifying. You place your hand over your heart and whisper softly to the stillness around you. I am allowed to be shaped by my life. You stay in the quiet for a long time, letting that simple truth sink in. When the wind shifts and brushes past your skin, it feels like the mountain itself is acknowledging your words, accepting them as true. Then a deeper question rises within you, not because you force it, but because the silence allows it. What do I truly want? Not what others expected from you. Not what the world told you to chase. Not what you chose because you were afraid to choose differently. but what your heart wants in its quietest, most honest voice. The question does not frighten you. Instead, it feels like an invitation. You close your eyes and breathe. Slowly, gently, something begins to rise from the center of your chest. A feeling rather than a word. A longing that is soft but persistent. A direction that feels natural, not because it is easy, but because it is true. The longing says, I want to live in alignment with myself. You open your eyes. The world outside the hut seems clearer, brighter. The valley seems wider. The sky seems closer. Something inside you has shifted in a way you cannot explain with thought alone. You stand and step outside the hut. The wind greets you again, brushing past your skin like a quiet reminder that life moves, always. The mountain stands tall behind you. You feel its presence like a steady hand placed gently between your shoulders. You walk a little further up the path until you reach a ledge overlooking the entire valley. You sit down on the warm stone and watch the clouds drift. You realize that you have reached a moment that feels like a turning point. Not because anything dramatic has happened, but because something inside you has settled into truth. You now understand why you came to the mountain, not to conquer it, not to seek answers from it, but to see yourself clearly in its stillness. You breathe deeply and whisper into the wind, I am ready to live from my truth. The words feel right. They feel honest. They feel like the next step. You stand again, steady and clear. The mountain remains behind you as you begin to descend. You feel its quiet wisdom settling into your bones, becoming part of your inner landscape. You know you will carry this steadiness with you. As you walk back down toward the valley, the world seems wider, the path smoother, and your own heart stronger. The mountain has taught you something essential. Strength is not noise. Strength is not force. Strength is the quiet knowing of who you are when everything else falls away. And with that knowing inside you, you walk forward into the next part of your journey, trusting the ground beneath your feet and the truth rising within your soul. You descend from the mountain with a quiet steadiness guiding each step. The air grows warmer as you move downward. The trees begin to rise taller again. The wind softens its voice. With every shift in the landscape, you feel the mountain's wisdom settling deeper inside you. Not as a thought, not as an idea, but as a presence, a quiet confidence that now lives within your heart. The path leads you into a valley shaped by gentle hills and bright patches of sunlight. The grass sways in slow waves, touched by a breeze that carries the subtle scent of pine and open earth. You walk through this softness and notice how calm your mind has become. The noise that once filled your thoughts has thinned. The doubts that once circled your heart have loosened their grip. You feel open in a way that is new. Open not because you have no fears, but because you no longer hide from them. Ahead you see a small field of tall, golden reeds swaying in unison. The path cuts through them like a ribbon carved by time. As you enter the field, the reeds rise around you, brushing lightly against your arms, whispering with each step. The sound they make is gentle and rhythmic, like a lullaby sung by the wind. You walk slowly, letting the harmony of the reeds settle into your breath. Their movement reminds you that life is a series of gentle shifts. Seasons changing, emotions rising and falling, thoughts moving in and out of your mind like clouds drifting across the sky. Nothing stays the same, but nothing needs to. Change is not something to fear. Change is the pulse of existence. As you reach the center of the field, you notice a tall, slender lantern standing by itself. Its glass sides clear, its frame aged by weather. It is unlit, yet it draws your attention as though it carries a quiet message. You step closer and rest your hand on its metal frame. It is cool to the touch. The lantern stands like a symbol, a reminder of something you have been slowly moving toward. Light. Not the outer light of day, but the inner light that rises even in darkness. For so long you searched for that light outside yourself, in people, in circumstances, in moments of achievement, in the approval of others. But now, standing beside the lantern, you begin to understand that the light you seek does not come from outside. It comes from the core of your being. You sit near the lantern and close your eyes. The reeds sway around you, creating a soft cradle of sound. You breathe deeply, feeling your chest rise and fall. You allow your awareness to drift inward to the quiet space beneath your ribs. At first, the darkness inside you feels vast. Then gradually you sense a faint glow. Small, steady, alive. This glow is the beginning of your inner light. It is the part of you that endured, even in your darkest moments. The part of you that whispered to keep going when everything felt heavy. The part of you that remained soft, even when life hardened you. The part of you that held truth, even when you forgot how to listen. You breathe into that glow. Each breath feeds it. Each moment of presence strengthens it. Soon the glow expands until it touches every part of you. Your chest, your throat, your shoulders, your spine. It warms places inside you that were once cold. It softens places that were once tense. It illuminates the corners of your heart where old doubts once lived. You open your eyes slowly and the world feels brighter. Not because the light around you changed, but because the light within you has awakened. The lantern beside you remains unlit. Yet something about it seems different, as if it reflects the glow inside your chest. You stand again, feeling grounded and clear. A truth rises softly in your mind, as simple as breath. Your inner light does not come from perfection. It comes from honesty. It comes from presence. It comes from accepting every part of yourself. The strong parts, the uncertain parts, the wounded parts, the hopeful parts. You begin walking again through the field of reeds, moving gently with each step. As you walk, the path curves toward a grove of trees where sunlight filters in through gaps in the leaves. The light dances across the ground, forming shifting patterns that move with the breeze. You pause under the trees and watch the sunlight flicker. It reminds you of something essential. Light finds every opening. It finds cracks in stone. It finds gaps between leaves. It finds spaces in a closed room. It finds the smallest tear in a cloud and pours through it. And it finds you. Not because you chase it, but because you allow it to enter. Not because you are flawless, but because you are open. Not because you are fearless, but because you are willing. You step deeper into the grove until the trees open to reveal a small circle of earth bathed in sunlight. It feels like the heart of the forest, a place where light gathers naturally. You walk into the center of it and feel the warmth touch your skin, your shoulders, and your face. The warmth feels like a blessing, not a loud one, a quiet one. A blessing that says you do not need to earn the light. You only need to stop turning away from it. You tilt your head back and close your eyes. The light rests upon you generously, without condition. It warms the places within you that have lived too long in shadow. You breathe slowly, letting the warmth settle into your heart. In this moment, you feel a sense of being held. Not by someone else, but by existence itself. After a long moment, you open your eyes and look around. The grove feels alive in a way you did not notice before. You see small insects drifting in the sunlight, their wings shining like fragments of glass. You see the gentle tremble of leaves as they respond to the breeze. You hear the faint hum of life moving around you, quiet but constant. You realize that the world has never stopped offering its light to you. It was your own heart that needed time to open. But now, as you stand here in the soft glow, you feel ready. Ready to receive. Ready to see. Ready to carry the light with you. You step out of the sunlit circle and return to the path, walking with a sense of calm you have never felt so clearly. Each step feels intentional. Each breath feels spacious. Each moment feels like part of something larger and gentler than anything you once imagined. As the path bends and leads you toward a new direction, you sense that the next chapter will ask you to bring this light into the places within you that still feel uncertain, but you no longer fear that. You are beginning to understand that light does not arrive all at once. It grows, it spreads, it reveals, it heals. And so, with the first true glow of inner light softening your entire being, you continue forward, ready to step deeper into the unfolding journey of yourself. You walk forward with a calmness that feels new, yet deeply familiar. The inner light you awakened in the field of reeds continues to glow inside you, steady and warm, like a quiet flame guiding you from within. Each step now feels more rooted. Your feet touch the earth with clarity. Your breath feels connected to everything around you, and as the path curves gently ahead, you sense that something important is waiting for you. You enter a part of the forest where the trees grow closer together, forming a natural corridor of branches. The air here feels still but not stagnant. It is a deep, sacred stillness, the kind that invites truth to rise. Birdsong fades. Leaves barely move. Your footsteps soften automatically as if your body understands the reverence this place requires. Ahead, you notice a small structure tucked between two ancient trees. It is simple, made of wood and stone, shaped like a small shelter. The door is slightly open, inviting yet quiet, as if waiting for someone who is ready rather than someone who is seeking. When you approach, you feel the same gentle pull that guided you into the house of forgiveness. But this time the feeling is deeper, more intimate. You place your hand on the door and push it open. The room inside is small, lit only by a single square window where sunlight falls in a narrow beam onto the wooden floor. There is nothing else in the room. No symbols, no furniture, no distractions. Just silence and space. You step inside and sit on the floor where the sunlight touches the earth. The light feels warm on your skin. You close your eyes and take a slow, steady breath. The quiet inside the room wraps around you like a soft blanket. Nothing pulls at you. Nothing demands anything of you. It is simply a space for truth, a truth that has waited patiently for you to become ready. You sit for a while, letting the stillness settle into your bones. Slowly your thoughts begin to move, not in the restless way they once did, but in slow, gentle waves. You begin to see moments from your life where you quieted your own truth, not out of weakness, but out of survival. You remember the times you swallowed your words because you feared they would break the fragile peace around you. The times you stayed silent because you feared your honesty might be too heavy for others. The times you hid your own needs because you believed they were less important than the needs of those you cared for. You breathe deeply and feel the weight of those moments settle in your chest. It is not a painful weight. It is the weight of recognition. The knowledge that you have carried parts of yourself in silence for far too long. The room remains patient. It does not push you, it does not rush you, it holds your truth with the same stillness the earth holds seeds waiting for spring. You feel something begin to rise inside you, and then, not a memory, not a thought, but a voice. A quiet, steady voice that belongs to a part of yourself you once silenced. You do not force it to speak, you simply open space for it. Eventually, the voice reveals its first truth. I have needs too. You inhale, surprised by the simplicity of the words. You exhale, letting them settle. As the voice continues, the truths it speaks are soft but steady. I need rest. I need tenderness. I need time to understand myself. I need to feel heard. I need to feel safe. I need to feel allowed. Each truth rises like a small stone lifted from the depths of a quiet lake. Each one feels real. Each one feels human. Each one feels like a part of you that has been waiting for years to be acknowledged. Tears gather beneath your closed eyelids, not from sadness, but from relief. For the first time in a long time, you are not demanding anything of yourself. You are listening, truly listening. When the voice inside you quiets, another truth rises. A truth that feels older, deeper, and heavier. I stopped trusting myself. The sentence hangs in the air like a soft echo. You sit with it, letting it reveal itself slowly. You understand now that there were moments when you abandoned your own intuition because you believed someone else knew better. Moments when you twisted yourself to fit expectations that were never meant for you. Moments when you ignored your own warning signs. Moments when you walked away from yourself because you were afraid that being your true self would cost you love, acceptance, or belonging. You feel the ache of that truth, but you do not turn away from it. You stay with it. You breathe with it. Because you finally understand that truth is not here to wound you. Truth is here to free you. You whisper softly into the quiet room. I am allowed to trust myself again. The words settle into your heart with a warmth that spreads through your entire body. You repeat them more firmly this time. I am allowed to trust myself again. The room seems to brighten as you speak. The light through the window grows wider, softer. You look down at your hands resting in your lap and notice that they no longer tremble in the way they once did. They feel steady, grounded, connected. You realize now that trusting yourself is not an act of confidence. It is an act of love. A quiet, steady love that says, I believe in you. I believe in your voice. I believe in your heart. You sit a while longer, letting this truth soak into every part of you. Gradually, you feel the room shift, not physically, but emotionally. It no longer feels like a space where truth is revealed. It feels like a space where truth is welcomed, honored, and held. You stand slowly and step toward the doorway. Before leaving, you turn back and look at the sunlight falling across the floor. You realize that the room did not give you answers. It gave you something more important. The space to hear yourself. You step outside and breathe deeply. The forest air fills your lungs with a sense of freshness that feels almost sacred. The path stretches before you once more, but now you walk it with a deeper clarity. A clarity born from listening to the quiet truth inside your own heart. As you move forward, you feel something new blooming inside you. Not just strength, not just light, but authenticity, the deepest form of freedom. The freedom to be who you are without apology. The freedom to speak with your true voice. the freedom to make choices that honor your inner being. The forest seems brighter as you walk, the air seems warmer, the world feels more alive. You know that the next part of your journey will ask you to live your truth, not just recognize it. But you no longer fear that. You are ready. And with each steady step you move toward the next chapter. A chapter shaped not by silence, but by your own emerging voice. You leave the quiet room behind, carrying its truth within your chest like a warm ember. The forest feels different now. The air carries a freshness that wasn't there before, as if the trees themselves recognize your inner shift. Light trickles through the branches in long, soft beams, painting moving patterns across the earth as you walk. You breathe slowly and deeply, letting each inhale expand the space inside you, letting each exhale soften what once felt rigid. For the first time in a long time, you feel aligned. Not aligned with perfection, not aligned with expectation, aligned with yourself, your voice, your needs, your truth. And as you continue along the path, you sense that your journey is slowly leading you to a moment of transition, a place that will connect the person you once were with the person you are becoming. Soon the forest begins to clear, revealing a wide open stretch of land. At the far end of this clearing lies a wooden bridge that stretches across a narrow but deep ravine. The bridge looks old. Its ropes are thick and woven with care. Its planks are worn smooth by time, softened by sun and rain. Yet it stands firmly, suspended between the two sides as if holding centuries of footsteps. You walk toward it slowly. Something about the bridge feels symbolic. It feels like a threshold, a crossing between chapters of your life. You stand at its entrance and rest your hand on the first wooden plank. The wood is warm beneath your palm. The stillness of the moment feels like an invitation, not to rush, not to force, but simply to walk with intention. Before stepping onto the bridge, you pause and look back at the forest behind you. You think of the shadows you faced, the stories you released, the forgiveness you learned, the truth you heard. You think of the younger self you held in your arms deep within the forest. You think of the inner light that awakened. Each moment was part of a journey that shaped your heart quietly, gently, layer by layer. You whisper softly to the forest behind you, "Thank you." Not because every part of it was easy, but because every part of it mattered. You turn back to the bridge and take your first step. The wood creaks under your weight, not in danger, but in acknowledgement. The ropes sway slightly as the wind moves across the ravine. You grip the side gently and continue forward. Each plank you step on feels like the closing of an old chapter. Not with finality, but with acceptance. As you reach the center of the bridge, the world expands around you. Below, the ravine stretches deep into the earth, filled with stones shaped by ancient waters. Above, the sky opens wide with drifting clouds and soft light. For a moment, you stand still and let yourself feel suspended, held between two worlds, two versions of yourself, two moments in time. A question rises quietly inside you. What am I stepping toward? Not what do others expect from me, not what should I become to be loved, but what calls to my soul now. The answer does not come in words. It comes as a feeling, a gentle pull forward, a soft certainty that your life is ready to expand beyond the patterns that once contained it. You breathe into that feeling. You let it settle. You trust it. When you take another step, the wind brushes past your face, carrying a soft whisper as if the world itself is saying, "Keep going." You walk slowly to the other side, And when your foot touches the solid ground beyond the bridge, you feel something inside you shift. It is subtle but unmistakable. A quiet release, a gentle opening, a small but steady transformation. This new land feels different. The air is warmer, the light is softer, the trees ahead are spaced farther apart, creating a sense of spaciousness. You walk forward and soon find yourself in a wide meadow filled with tall grass that sways like waves in a sea of green and gold. A gentle wind carries the scent of wildflowers. The sky above stretches wide and open as though inviting you to breathe more freely. You step into the meadow and feel the grass brush lightly against your legs. The openness around you mirrors the openness you feel within. You walk deeper into the meadow until you reach a circle of stones arranged around a patch of untouched earth. The stones are weathered and covered in lichen, as if they have watched countless seasons come and go. You sit on one of the stones and close your eyes. The breeze moves gently across your skin. You breathe deeply and let your body release the tension it still carries. In the stillness, you sense something rising inside you. A truth not about your past, but about your future. You realize that crossing the bridge was not just a physical moment. It was an inner crossing. A crossing from self-doubt into self-trust. A crossing from silence into voice. A crossing from surviving into becoming. And now, sitting in the quiet meadow, you begin to feel the emerging shape of who you are becoming. This future self is not someone you must invent. This future self is someone you are uncovering, someone who already exists beneath the layers you have shed. Someone who has been waiting patiently for your arrival. You picture this version of yourself. Not a perfect version, but a true one. A version who speaks clearly, lives gently, moves with intention, and makes choices aligned with inner wisdom rather than fear. You see a version of yourself who does not shrink to make others comfortable, who does not hide to avoid judgment, who does not abandon their own heart to keep peace. This version of you stands tall not because life has been easy, but because you have learned how to meet life as it is. You open your eyes and look at the ring of stones around you. They feel like witnesses, quiet companions, anchors of the earth that silently hold space for whatever you become. You realize you no longer fear the journey ahead. You do not need to know every step. You do not need to know the ending. All you need is to continue listening, to continue trusting, to continue walking toward what feels true. You rise from the stone and step into the center of the circle. You place your hand over your heart, feeling its warmth beneath your fingers. You whisper softly into the open air, "I am ready to meet the person I am becoming." The wind moves through the meadow in a gentle wave as if responding to your words. The grass bends, the flowers sway. The world seems to breathe with you for a moment. You step out of the circle and return to the path. It stretches ahead, soft and open, curving gently into the distance. You walk toward it with steady steps, knowing that everything behind you has prepared you for everything ahead. You no longer walk as the person who began this journey. You walk as someone who has crossed a bridge inside their soul. Someone who has listened. Someone who has released. Someone who has transformed. And with the quiet confidence of a heart awakening to its own truth, you continue toward the next part of your unfolding story. You continue walking with a sense of clarity that feels new yet strangely familiar, as if it has always belonged to you but only now found space to emerge. The path curves gently through the open meadow before guiding you toward a line of trees in the distance. Their leaves shimmer under the soft light, creating a subtle glow that feels almost like a welcome. As you draw closer, you notice something unexpected. A narrow wooden gate stands between two willow trees, their long branches hanging like soft curtains on either side. The gate is simple, crafted from weathered wood, but its presence carries a quiet significance, as if it guards something sacred. Above it, carved into a small piece of stone, is a single word: enter. You pause, feeling the weight of the moment. The air grows gentler, warmer, almost like a breath brushing your cheek. The gate is not locked. It does not push or pull you, it simply waits. An invitation, not a command. You inhale deeply and step through. On the other side, the world shifts. You find yourself in a vast hidden garden, a place untouched by noise, untouched by urgency, untouched by anything that does not belong to the present moment. The air feels fuller here, rich with the scent of soil, water, and blooming life. Sunlight filters through branches in soft, delicate beams. The ground beneath your feet is soft with moss. Flowers grow in gentle clusters of color, each petal holding a calm, steady beauty. The garden feels alive in a way that is not loud but profound. Every sound is gentle. The rustle of leaves, the quiet buzz of insects, the soft whisper of wind moving through grass. This is not a place of instruction. It is a place of renewal, a place where the heart can breathe. You walk slowly, your steps soft on the moss-covered ground. As you move deeper into the garden, you notice a small stream winding through the center, its surface clear and reflective. The water makes a soft sound as it slips over stones and bends around roots. You kneel beside it and place your hand into the cool flow. It feels pure, smooth, untouched. You watch as the water flows around your fingers, adjusting itself without resistance. It never stops moving. It never questions the shape of the land. It simply adapts. You feel its wisdom settle quietly into your mind. To be fluid is not to be weak. To bend is not to break. To move with life is not to lose yourself, but to discover new shapes of your own strength. You rise and follow the stream until it leads you to a circle of fruit trees growing in graceful arcs. Their branches are heavy with ripened fruit, apples, peaches, figs, each one glowing softly as if lit from within. You reach up and pick a single apple. Its skin is warm from sunlight. You take a slow bite, and the sweetness fills your mouth with a familiar, comforting sensation. It tastes like childhood, like summer days when laughter was easy and worries were small. You feel something soften in your chest, a memory not of a single moment but of a feeling you once had before life became complicated. A feeling of being enough. A feeling of belonging without needing to earn it. You sit beneath one of the trees and let the sweetness linger on your tongue. As you rest, you look around and begin to understand something deeper. The garden is a reflection of your inner world. Where once your inner landscape held shadows, tangled stories, and old wounds, now it holds spaces of gentleness, forgiveness, and growing light. The garden mirrors your transformation, not as a reward, but as a natural unfolding. You close your eyes and allow the stillness to enter you. In this quiet, memories rise in soft waves. Memories of times when life felt heavy, when you carried burdens you did not understand, when you held on to pain because you didn't know how to release it. But unlike before, these memories do not sting. They feel distant, softened by time and compassion. You see them clearly but without judgment. You see who you were but not with shame. You see your past self as someone doing their best with the tools they had. A warm breeze passes through the garden, brushing gently against your face, as if the world itself is comforting you. You breathe deeply and whisper to your past self, "You did your best." And it was enough. A soft release floods through your chest. You feel the truth of those words settle into every corner of your being. The garden seems to respond with a shimmer of light as leaves rustle softly like a silent applause. You stand and continue walking until you reach the far edge of the garden, where a small stone bench sits beneath a flowering tree. The petals above you fall gently, drifting like slow-motion snowflakes. You sit on the bench and let the petals gather around your feet. They are soft, fragile, each one unique, each one temporary. Their beauty lies exactly in their impermanence. You lift a fallen petal and hold it to the light. Its edges glow softly. As you study it, a simple truth rises in your mind. Life becomes softer when we stop demanding permanence from things that were never meant to last. People change, seasons change, circumstances shift. And yet every fallen petal is still beautiful. Every ending carries the seed of beginning. Every loss creates space for something new to grow. You place the petal gently on your knee and feel a quiet acceptance settle into your spirit. Not resignation, acceptance. The kind that comes from understanding that life's beauty includes its fragility, that your own heart includes its scars, that your growth includes every moment of breaking and becoming. The tree above you releases another wave of blossoms, and for a moment the air sparkles with drifting petals. You close your eyes and feel them land softly on your shoulders, your hair, your hands. The moment feels like a gentle blessing, a reminder that you are allowed to shed what no longer belongs and allowed to bloom in new ways. When you open your eyes, the garden seems brighter. Or perhaps you are the one who is brightened. You stand and walk toward the opposite gate, feeling gratitude fill your chest. Gratitude for the garden. Gratitude for the truths you discovered. Gratitude for the growth that has taken root quietly inside you. You step through the gate and return to the path with a renewed sense of calm. Something in you feels reborn, not entirely new, but refreshed, softened, opened. You walk forward with steady steps, knowing that the journey ahead will continue to unfold with the same gentle wisdom that shaped the garden. And as the path leads you toward the next chapter, you carry with you the quiet truth you learned in the heart of the garden. Life blooms when you do, and your blooming has only just begun. You walk away from the hidden garden with a soft warmth moving quietly through your chest, like a small sun that has just risen inside you. The path ahead is calm and open, bordered by low bushes and scattered wildflowers. The sky stretches above in a wide pale blue with clouds drifting in slow, unhurried shapes. Everything around you feels spacious. There is room for your breath, room for your thoughts, room for your heart to unfold at its own pace. As you continue, you begin to notice something new about the world around you. A subtle sense of connection, the way the wind moves through the grass and then touches your skin. The way the light falls on leaves and reflects in your eyes. The way your footsteps leave a brief imprint on the earth and then fade. It feels as if everything is part of the same quiet conversation, and you are not outside of it. You are part of it. You belong to it. Soon the path leads you to a small hill where an old wooden fence runs along the edge. Beyond the fence there is a wide field of tall grass and small white flowers swaying in gentle waves. In the middle of the field stands a single tree. Its branches are wide and open, its leaves full and vibrant. It looks both strong and welcoming, like a guardian watching over the land. You step through a gap in the fence and walk slowly toward the tree. As you move, you begin to notice shapes in the distance, houses faint and simple resting at the far edge of the field. A small village. Smoke rises from a chimney. A faint sound of laughter carries through the air. Life is happening there quietly while you walk here in your own stillness. Somehow you feel connected to it even though you are not inside it. You reach the tree and sit beneath its branches. The shade it offers is soft, not cold. Leaves rustle above your head with a gentle sound that soothes your thoughts. From here you can see the village more clearly. Not in detail, but in essence. People moving, doors opening and closing, children running, someone hanging cloth to dry in the breeze, someone sitting alone on a step looking at the sky in the same way you are. You realize in this moment that every person in that village carries their own stories, their own fears, their own hopes, their own quiet joys and hidden aches. Some may be facing grief. Some may be learning love. Some may be holding on to secrets they do not know how to share. Some may be laughing right now without knowing why their laughter matters. And yet, even from this distance, you can feel something that unites you with them. You feel it in your chest. The simple, undeniable truth that all hearts know what it is to long, to hurt, to hope, to want to be seen, to want to be safe. You close your eyes and listen to the faint sounds carried by the wind. The village is not close, but it is not far either. It exists in the same world as you. It breathes the same air. It stands under the same sky. And just as your story has been unfolding on this path, each person there walks their own path, with their own quiet awakenings, their own moments of forgiveness, their own encounters with light and shadow. A soft tenderness rises within you. It is not directed at one person in particular. It is for all of them. For everyone you have never met but somehow recognize. For every stranger who has stood at the edge of their own inner forest, uncertain of how to go on. For every quiet soul who has ever felt alone, not knowing how deeply they belong to a world that is more connected than it seems. You place your hand over the grass beside you and feel the earth beneath your fingers. The same earth that rests under the village. The same earth that carries the weight of trees and rivers and mountains. The same earth that supports your steps, and theirs and countless others. You understand now that connection is not an idea. It is a reality woven into everything. The tree above you creaks softly as a breeze passes through. You look up at its branches and realize that each leaf is fed by the same trunk. Each branch is connected to the same roots. The tree is not a collection of separate parts. It is a single living being, expressing itself in many forms. You see a reflection of that truth in your own life. The moments you judged yourself, the moments you felt proud, the moments you felt afraid, the moments you felt kind. They are all branches of the same being. They are all part of you. You do not need to separate them into good or bad. You can see them as different expressions of the same living heart. And then you see that this is true beyond yourself. People are like branches on the same tree of life. different in shape and direction but rooted in something shared. Everyone wants to love and be loved. Everyone wants to feel they matter. Everyone wants to feel less alone. These desires flow through us like sap through branches, unseen but essential. You sit with this realization for a long moment. The feeling that rises inside you now is not just calm. It is compassion. A soft, deep compassion that does not require you to fix anyone or carry their burdens. It simply invites you to see them as human, like you. To understand that behind every action is a story. Behind every harsh word is pain. Behind every kindness is a heart that once needed kindness too. You think of your own life. The times you have spoken sharply, the times you have withdrawn, the times you have struggled. You see now that those moments did not come from malice, but from confusion, fear, or hurt. And if that is true for you, it is true for others as well. You breathe deeply and let this soften you. You look back at the village and without forcing anything, you silently send them a wish. It does not need to be eloquent. It does not need to be perfect. It simply needs to be true. May you find peace. May you feel safe. May you know you are not alone. You let that wish extend further. To the people you have known. To the people you no longer speak to. To people you may never meet. To those who share your joys. To those who carry your wounds mirrored in different stories, different bodies, different lives. For a moment, the world feels like a web of soft, glowing threads stretching from heart to heart, connecting everything. You are one point in that web. The village is another. The people you love are threads. The ones who have hurt you are threads too. The ones you will never meet still belong to the same shining pattern. You realize that even when you feel small, you are part of something vast. The wind picks up slightly as if answering your thoughts. The tree above you sways. The grass bends. The field becomes a moving ocean of green and white. You stand slowly, feeling a new sense of responsibility. Not a heavy one, but a gentle one. The responsibility to move through the world with awareness of this connection. To remember that your words travel farther than you see. That your silence holds power. That your presence changes the spaces you enter. That your kindness is never lost, even if you never see its final destination. As you step away from the tree, you feel quieter inside, but not empty. You feel full in a different way. Full of understanding, full of tenderness, full of a soft, spacious love that does not belong to one person alone. You walk back toward the path, casting one last glance at the village in the distance. Its details blur, but its presence remains. A small cluster of lives, each one as vast inside as you are, each one as connected to the great living web as you. You return to the pathway with a sense of having touched something sacred, something that cannot be seen with the eyes alone. As you move forward, you know that the next steps you take will not just be about you. They will be part of a larger ripple moving through the world, and with that quiet awareness resting gently in your heart, you continue walking. Ready to see where this deepening sense of connection will lead you next. The path ahead stretches gently between low rolling hills, carrying the warmth of the sun across your shoulders as you walk. The air feels softer now, touched by a quiet warmth that seems to rise not only from the world around you but from within you as well. Something in you has opened. Something in you listens differently now. Your steps are slower not because of weariness, but because you've begun to savor the journey instead of rushing through it. The sense of connection you felt near the village lingers in your chest, a soft presence that moves with your breath. It feels like a door that has opened inside you. A door that cannot be closed again because it wasn't built to separate but to reveal. As you continue walking, you notice a change in the landscape. The path widens and ahead you see a small clearing surrounded by tall cedar trees. Their trunks rise straight and strong, giving the space a quiet, grounded feeling. In the center of the clearing stands a circle of low wooden stools arranged around a fire pit filled with ash and stones. The fire is long since burned out, but the feeling in the air tells you that this place is used. Maybe not often, but with purpose. You step into the clearing and feel familiar sensations rising in your chest. A sense of anticipation, a sense of presence, a sense that you are stepping into a place where people gather to speak, to listen, to heal. You take a seat on one of the wooden stools. The wood is warm from the sun. The silence around you is deep but gentle. As you settle, you imagine what might have happened in this circle. Conversations held in low voices, stories shared that never left this space, moments of vulnerability honored by the listening hearts of others. You look at the empty seats around you and realize something simple but profound. Every person carries a story, and every person deserves a place where their story can rest. As you sit in the clearing, the memories of your own journey come to mind. The shadows you faced, the truths you uncovered, the forgiveness you offered yourself, the connections you began to sense in the world around you. You realize that each step of your path has not only changed you, but prepared you. You have become someone who can hold space, not through force, not through knowledge, not through perfection, but through presence, through listening, through the gentle strength that has grown inside you. You feel a deep breath fill your lungs, and with it comes a quiet realization. Healing is not something you receive alone. Healing is something that begins inside you but spreads outward like ripples in a still pond. Healing becomes part of the way you walk, part of the way you speak, part of the way you look at the world. A small bird lands on a branch above you, hopping lightly, chirping as though announcing something. Its presence feels like a reminder that every living being communicates in its own way, shares its own truth, carries its own emotions. Even the bird, in its simple movement and sound, expresses life. You close your eyes and lean into the silence. You imagine what it would feel like to offer someone the same space you've been learning to give yourself. Not advice, not solutions, just presence. A calm, welcoming presence that says, I am here. You do not need to hide. You do not need to explain everything. I will sit with you. In the quiet of this clearing, you feel a shift, a gentle unraveling of something tightly woven inside you. You understand now that healing is not only something you seek, it is something you begin to embody. The more you know your own wounds, the more you recognize the wounds of others. The more you accept your own story, the more you understand the stories around you. The more you hold space for your own truth, the more naturally you can hold space for others. You open your eyes and look at the circle of empty seats. For a moment, you imagine people sitting there. Individuals you've met long ago, strangers you've never seen, and even loved ones from your past. You imagine them speaking softly, sharing fears they buried, pains they carried alone, regrets they never named. And you imagine yourself listening, not as someone who needs to fix them, but as someone who knows what it feels like to carry weight in silence. You feel tenderness rise in your chest, because you understand now. Healing does not come from grand gestures, it comes from moments of quiet presence, moments of acceptance, moments where someone finally feels seen. You look up at the tall cedars surrounding the clearing. Their trunks are strong, their roots deep. They stand together, forming a sanctuary without walls. They remind you of something essential. Healing happens in safe spaces, and safe spaces begin with people who choose to be gentle. You stand from the wooden stool and walk to the fire pit. The ashes inside are cold, but you reach down and run your fingers through the soft gray powder. You feel the remnants of old flames, moments where warmth once lived, moments where stories were shared and transformed. You think of your own inner fire, the quiet flame that has been growing inside you since the moment you began this journey. It too was once small. It too burned low, but it never went out. And now, it burns steadily. You rise and step out of the circle, feeling the presence of the cedars behind you and the openness of the path ahead. As you walk, you become aware of something subtle but powerful inside your heart. You are no longer walking just for yourself. Without trying, you have become someone who carries a gentle medicine, the medicine of understanding, the medicine of compassion, the medicine of presence. It does not ask you to save anyone. It simply asks you to be who you are becoming. You continue along the path and soon come to a small rise where the land opens widely before you. A soft wind moves across your face. You close your eyes and breathe it in. It carries the scent of earth and sun and distant rain. It carries the quiet promise that every journey eventually becomes a gift, not just for the one who walks it, but for everyone their presence touches. A new awareness begins to settle gently inside you. You are learning how to heal yourself. And because of that, even without realizing it, you are becoming someone who can help heal the world in small, quiet ways. Not through words, not through effort, but through being. You open your eyes and step forward. The path curves gently to the right, leading you toward a new landscape waiting just beyond the horizon. Something ahead calls to you, not loudly, not urgently, but clearly. A call that sounds like purpose, but softer. A call that sounds like belonging, but deeper. And with a calm heart, you begin walking toward it, ready to discover the next truth that this journey has been preparing you to meet. The path begins to rise again, the ground sloping gently upward as you continue walking. The air shifts in a subtle way. Cooler, clearer, touched by a quiet sense of elevation. Quiet. It feels as though the world is guiding you toward a place where your inner journey will deepen, where silence becomes more than the absence of sound, where stillness becomes a teacher of its own. You follow the curve of the path until it leads you toward a ridge overlooking a serene expanse of land. From this height, the earth spreads out in soft waves of green and gold, with lines of distant forests marking the horizon. The sky widens above you, a soft pale blue that makes your breath slow naturally. You pause and let the view settle into your heart. There is a stillness here unlike any you have felt before. Not emptiness, but fullness. Not quiet to avoid noise, but quiet that invites truth. You continue walking until you reach a narrow arch of stone that rises unexpectedly at the top of the ridge. Moss covers parts of it, and tiny flowers grow along its base. It feels ancient, carved long before your time, placed here not as decoration but as guidance. You step beneath the arch and immediately the world seems to soften. The air grows warmer. The light becomes gentler. The path ahead narrows into a short walkway bordered by smooth, polished stones. At the end of this walkway, you see a small structure, round, simple, built from stone and wood. A sanctuary. Its door is open, revealing a warm glow inside. You feel a pull toward it, not of urgency, but of recognition. This is a place your heart has been walking toward for a long time. You approach slowly and step through the doorway. The interior is soft and understated. The floor is covered with woven mats. Candles line the walls in gentle curves, their flames flickering with a warm, steady glow. The ceiling is domed, allowing sound to fall in quiet waves that soothe rather than echo. In the center of the room lies a circular cushion, colored in deep earth tones, waiting in the middle of the light. You take a seat on the cushion and feel the entire space embrace you with its warmth. The sanctuary feels alive but not loud, sacred but not formal. It feels like a place where the world loosens its grip so your inner world can breathe freely. You close your eyes, and the sanctuary begins to speak, not with words, with stillness. The stillness surrounds you like a deep breath that has been waiting for you to join it. You inhale slowly and let your spine lengthen, your shoulders relax, your chest open. Your body settles in a way that tells you something profound is about to unfold. For a long moment, nothing happens. You simply sit in the quiet, allowing your breath to guide you inward. Your mind begins to soften. Thoughts move in slow motion. A sense of spaciousness opens within you as if a door has been gently pushed ajar in your chest. Then something begins to rise. A voice, not loud, not sharp, not external. A voice you recognize as your own. This voice exists beneath the surface of your everyday thoughts, beneath your worries and fears, beneath your conditioned responses. It is the voice of your deeper self, the part of you that knows without explanation, that sees without judgment, that speaks with clarity even when the world feels chaotic. It says softly, "Be still." The words echo gently inside your chest, and as they do, your breath deepens further. You feel your heartbeat slow, becoming steady and grounded. You feel your mind become quiet, not because effort silenced it, but because trust softened it. The voice continues a little stronger. You do not need to chase life. You do not need to control every moment. You do not need to solve everything at once. You feel these truths enter you like warm light spreading through your body. The sanctuary seems to brighten around you as if responding to your inner shift. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to breathe. You are allowed to be held by life. Your eyes remain closed, but a soft glow forms behind your eyelids. Not a harsh light. A gentle one like sunrise filtered through clouds. It fills the quiet space within you, illuminating corners where shadows once lingered. You sit with the light, letting it move effortlessly through your chest, your shoulders, your back. The voice inside you speaks again, this time with timeless gentleness. There is a sanctuary inside you, a place where nothing is missing, a place where you are whole. A warm, peaceful tremor moves through your chest. You understand suddenly that this sanctuary has always been within you. This space of quiet clarity, this soft inner light, this sense of belonging. None of it is new. It has simply been buried beneath layers of noise, fear, assumptions, and survival. You place your hand over your heart, feeling the warmth there. The voice continues. You have searched for peace outside, but peace has always been waiting inside. Tears rise quietly behind your closed eyelids, not from sorrow, but from the relief of being reunited with something you thought you had lost. You let them fall. They feel like openings. They feel like truth softening into acceptance. In the sanctuary of your stillness, you begin to see moments of your life more clearly. Moments when you fought against yourself because you believed you had to be stronger than you felt. Moments when you gave so much of your energy to others that you forgot to give something to yourself. Moments when you doubted your own intuition because you thought someone else's voice meant more than your own. You whisper gently, "I see you," to every version of yourself that appears in these memories. You do not judge them. You do not correct them. You simply see them. And being seen is healing. Your breath grows softer, deeper. The sanctuary grows brighter. You sit inside this glow, letting your heart open like a slow, patient bloom. You feel a quiet truth rise inside you. A truth you have been walking toward this entire journey. I am my own safe place. These words settle into your bones. They ground you in a way you have never felt before. The sanctuary seems to echo them, its warmth surrounding you as if in agreement. You stay in this space for as long as your heart needs. Time loses its shape. The silence becomes a companion. The inner voice quiets, not because it stops speaking, but because its message has been received, understood, absorbed. Eventually you open your eyes. The sanctuary looks the same, but the world inside you feels transformed. You rise slowly, feeling both grounded and lifted. You bow your head slightly, not in ritual, but in gratitude. Gratitude for the stillness, for the truth, for the inner sanctuary that now feels alive within you. When you step outside, the air feels warm against your skin. The sky looks wider, and the path ahead feels like an invitation, not a demand. You walk forward with the deep knowing that wherever you go, the sanctuary goes with you. That no matter how loud the world becomes, you can return to this inner space. That peace is not a destination. It is a home you carry inside. With a calm, steady breath, you continue your journey, ready for the next chapter of your unfolding self. You walk on with the quiet certainty that the inner sanctuary now lives within you. Each step feels grounded. Each breath feels steady. The world around you seems lighter, not because it has changed, but because you now move through it with a softer, clearer heart. The air carries a faint sweetness touched by the scent of pine and distant blossoms. You feel the steady glow of the sanctuary resting in your chest, warm and constant. But as the path deepens into the forest once more, a subtle shift moves through the air. The light dims, not in a sudden or alarming way, but in a quiet, thoughtful manner, as though the world is preparing you for another truth, another layer of yourself that waits to be seen. You walk slowly, sensing the change. The forest becomes dense again, trees growing taller and closer. The ground under your feet softens with fallen leaves. The breeze grows still as if holding its breath. The quiet here is different from the quiet in the sanctuary. It is heavier, more introspective, carrying the feeling of something waiting to surface. Soon the path leads you to a hollow, a gentle dip in the earth where the trees curve inward, forming a shelter of branches above. The dim light filters through in narrow beams, illuminating patches of soft earth. In the center of the hollow stands a single wooden chair, rustic and worn, as if placed there for whoever is brave enough to sit with themselves. The moment you see the chair, you understand. This place is not here to soothe you. It is here to reveal something you have carried for a long time. Something that has lived beneath your awareness. Something that you sensed before but never faced completely. You step into the hollow and approach the chair. Your breathing deepens. A faint tension rises in your chest. Not overwhelming, but familiar. The kind of tension that comes when an old wound begins to stir. You sit slowly, the wood creaks beneath you. You exhale long and steady. The silence grows thicker around you. At first nothing happens, the hollow waits, the trees wait, your heart waits. Then gradually a memory begins to emerge. Not a clear, detailed memory, but a feeling, a subtle ache, a heaviness that has threaded through your life in quiet ways. The ache does not announce itself loudly. It rises like mist, soft but pervasive. It is the ache of the wound you never fully allowed yourself to acknowledge. You keep your eyes open, letting the hollow remain in your view as you breathe. The ache grows clearer with each breath. You feel it in the tightening of your throat, in the heaviness behind your sternum, in the quiet ache behind your eyes. You understand now that this wound is not about a single moment. It is about all the moments you silenced your own pain because you believed you had no right to feel it. It is about the times you were hurt, but told yourself it wasn't serious enough to matter. It is about the times you comforted others while swallowing your own sorrow. It is about the times you carried disappointment silently because you believed others needed you to be strong. You breathe in deeply. Your voice trembles slightly as you whisper, "I see you." A faint stirring rises in the hollow, almost like a breath of wind, though the air remains still. It feels as though the world is acknowledging your courage, witnessing the truth you are finally willing to face. You place your hand over your heart. The ache intensifies as though rising to the surface after years of being buried. Tears gather in your eyes, soft and slow. You whisper again, "I see you." This time you direct the words inward, not to a memory, not to a person, but to the part of yourself that carried this wound alone. A small, fragile voice rises inside you, a voice you have not heard in a long time. It says, "It hurt." The simplicity of those words breaks something open inside you. Not in a painful way, in a true way. A way that feels like the earth cracking to let water through. Your breath catches, you close your eyes and let the tears fall. You finally let yourself feel the hurt you once minimized, denied, or silenced. The hurt you told yourself wasn't worth naming. The hurt you believed you should be strong enough to ignore. The hurt that shaped your defenses, your doubts, your quiet fears. You sit with it. You do not try to reason with it. You do not try to fix it. You simply let it speak. You whisper softly, "You didn't deserve to carry this alone." The hollow responds with a soft hush, as if the trees are leaning closer to listen. The voice inside you trembles again, saying, "I was scared." You breathe deeper, letting your heart open. You whisper back, "I know." Your body softens. Your shoulders release. The space inside your chest grows warmer, deeper, gentler. The voice continues, fragile but honest. "No one noticed." Your breath hitches again. You feel the truth of those words in your bones. You whisper, "I notice you now." The hollow seems to brighten slightly, as if a faint glow has joined the air. The wound speaks again, not as pain, but as truth. "I needed comfort, but I couldn't ask." You let that settle. You let it move through you. This wound has shaped so many quiet parts of your life. How you loved, how you trusted, how you protected yourself, how you hesitated to receive. You whisper gently that you deserved comfort. You still do. The voice grows quiet, not silent, quiet as though resting for the first time in years. You sit with your hand over your heart, breathing slowly, letting the ache rise and soften like waves gently washing over the same shore. The wound is not gone, and it does not need to be. Wounds do not disappear when they are acknowledged. They transform. As you continue breathing, the ache inside you begins to loosen. Not fade. Loosen. It feels less like a weight and more like a message. less like something sharp and more like something softening. A warmth begins to spread across your chest, starting at your heart and moving outward. It feels like kindness. The kind of kindness you once offered to others but never gave fully to yourself. You whisper softly into the hollow, "I am here now. I won't turn away." And for the first time you feel the wound respond not with pain but with relief. A silence falls over the hollow. A silence different from before, not heavy, not tense. A silence that feels like peace finding a place to land. You rise slowly from the wooden chair. Your breath feels deeper, your chest feels freer, your steps feel softer. As you walk out of the hollow, the air brightens, the trees open, the light returns. You do not leave the wound behind. You carry it differently now, with compassion instead of fear, with gentleness instead of avoidance. The path ahead looks clearer than before, and with quiet courage warming your steps, you continue forward, ready for the next doorway your heart is meant to open. You walk on, feeling the soft imprint of all the places you have passed through resting quietly inside you. The sanctuary of stillness, the hollow of the unseen wound, the river that taught you to move, the garden that showed you rebirth. Each place has given you something. Each lesson has woven itself into your breath, your steps, your way of seeing. You no longer feel like someone searching for a path. You feel like someone walking in their own unfolding. The forest around you begins to thin. Light pours through in larger pieces, painting the ground with shifting patterns of gold. The air feels warmer now, touched by the nearness of open sky. You sense that you are approaching the edge of the inward journey and drawing closer to the place where inner work meets the outer world. A gentle question rises in your mind, soft but important. How will you live this peace once you step back into the world of others, into the noise, into the movement, into the everyday? You continue walking until the trees give way to a broad, sunlit field. The grass is short here, dotted with small white flowers that sway quietly in the breeze. In the distance you see a path that seems to lead back toward the direction of the village you glimpsed earlier. The sight of it stirs something tender in your chest. The teachings you have received on this inner journey are not meant to stay hidden in solitude. They are meant to be carried into life, into conversations, into choices, into small, simple moments. You move into the field and feel the openness around you. There are no walls here, no ceilings, only earth beneath you and sky above you. It feels like standing between two truths, the vastness of the outer world and the vastness of your inner one. You realize they are not separate, they reflect each other. When you are in conflict inside, the world seems harsh and jagged. When you are at peace within, the world seems softer even when it is difficult. A gentle breeze moves across your face, and you close your eyes for a moment, letting the wind pass through your hair, your clothes, your skin. You imagine that with every exhale you are releasing old ways of being that no longer fit. The need to always perform, the habit of shrinking yourself, the reflex to ignore your own needs, the fear of being seen as you truly are. You imagine them dissolving like dust in the air, carried away by the wind into the wide, forgiving sky. When you open your eyes, you notice something carved into a flat stone near your feet. You step closer and read the words engraved there. Peace is not something you hide inside yourself. It is something you quietly become. You stand still, letting the sentence soak into your awareness. It reminds you that your journey was never about escaping the world. It was about learning how to return to it differently, not as someone untouched by life, but as someone who can move through life with openness instead of armor, with presence instead of avoidance. You sit down beside the stone, resting your hands in your lap. Thoughts of ordinary life begin to drift into your mind, conversations with people who do not understand what you feel, moments of frustration, busyness, noise, misunderstandings, responsibilities. For a moment you wonder if this peace can survive all of that. You wonder if this quiet inner strength will remain when you are no longer surrounded by nature and silence. Your heart answers before your mind does. Peace is not a fragile candle that the world will easily blow out. It is more like a small fire inside you that you learn to tend. Some days it will burn brightly. Some days it will flicker weakly. But it does not disappear. It waits for you to return, to notice it, to feed it with breath, with honesty, with kindness. You take a slow breath and imagine yourself back among others. You see yourself listening more deeply than before, not just to words, but to the feelings beneath them. You see yourself speaking more gently, not to be perfect, but because you no longer need to defend yourself with sharpness. You see yourself pausing before reacting, noticing the rise of old patterns, fear, defensiveness, impatience, and choosing instead to return to your breath, to your center, to the sanctuary within. You understand that carrying peace into the world does not mean you will never feel anger, sadness, or frustration again. It means you will no longer be ruled by them. You will feel them, honor them, listen to what they are trying to say, and then allow them to move, just like the river, just like the wind, just like the clouds across the sky. You look around the open field and notice a simple wooden bench a short distance away. You walk toward it and sit down, facing the direction where the village lies somewhere beyond the hills. You cannot see it clearly, but you know it is there. Full of lives in motion, full of stories unfolding, full of hearts searching in their own ways. As you sit, a quiet understanding rises inside you. Every person you meet is walking their own inner path, whether they know it or not. Some are at the beginning, restless and uncertain. Some are in the middle, facing their old wounds. Some are learning to trust themselves. Some are still running, still hiding, still afraid to feel. But all of them are trying to find something. Belonging, safety, love, meaning, relief. You breathe in gently and let compassion arise for them. Not a dramatic, heavy compassion that exhausts you, but a simple, steady one. The kind that remembers you were once lost too. The kind that remembers you still have days when you feel lost. The kind that allows you to see others not as problems to fix, but as fellow travelers. You realize that carrying peace into the world is not about preaching or convincing anyone of anything. It is about presence. It is about the way you inhabit your own body, the way you respond when hurt, the way you apologize when you are wrong, the way you stay soft without letting yourself be erased, the way you set boundaries without closing your heart. You place a hand gently over your chest and feel your heartbeat. Steady, warm, familiar. You think of the people you will encounter. The ones who are kind, the ones who are harsh, the ones who are indifferent, the ones who are open, the ones who are closed. You will not always know what they are carrying, but you can decide how you will carry yourself. You whisper softly as if making a promise. I will walk gently. The words are simple, but they feel like a commitment. Not to perfection, but to mindfulness. You will not always succeed. There will be days when you forget, when old habits return, when you react before you breathe. But even then, the path back to peace will not be lost. It will always be as close as your next breath. You sit for a while longer, watching the way the light moves across the grass, the way the breeze bends the flowers, the way the silence holds everything without judgment. In this quiet, you understand that peace is not a fixed state. It is a practice of remembering, of returning, of choosing your heart again and again, even after you've turned away from it. Eventually, you stand and turn back to the path. It now leads in the direction of human life, toward the village, toward others, toward the ordinary world where dishes need washing and conversations need patience. And days sometimes feel too short and hearts sometimes feel too full or too empty. But as you walk, you no longer see the ordinary as separate from the sacred. Every small moment becomes part of the path. Every interaction becomes a chance to live what you have learned. You walk with your shoulders relaxed, your breath slow, your gaze soft. You feel the quiet fire of your inner sanctuary burning gently inside you. You feel the tenderness of the unseen wound held with care. You feel the acceptance of change, the connection to others, the emerging sense of purpose that doesn't shout, but hums quietly beneath everything you do. You are not finished. The journey will continue. There will be more lessons, more openings, more letting go. But for now, you simply walk, carrying peace not as an idea, but as a way of being, step by step, into the living, breathing world that awaits you. The path begins to slope gently downward as you walk toward the world that waits beyond this quiet landscape. The air grows warmer with each step, carrying the faint sounds of distant life. The echo of voices, the creak of a cart, the soft laughter of children you cannot yet see. These sounds do not disturb your peace. They blend with it like new notes joining a melody that has already begun inside you. You feel the familiar glow of your inner sanctuary resting in your chest, steady and calm. You feel the tenderness of the wound you met and held. No longer hidden, no longer ignored. You feel the flow of life moving through you, like a river that no longer meets resistance in the same way. And as the path widens and the world opens, you begin to sense what this journey has quietly prepared you for. Not a life that is free from difficulty, but a life that is lived awake. Soon the outline of the village appears in the distance. The cluster of rooftops, the faint movements of people, the sooty trail of smoke rising from chimneys into the sky. You walk toward it with measured steps, not rushing, not hesitating. Each step feels like a small bridge between your inner work and the world in which it will now take form. As you come closer, you begin to see more clearly. A woman carries a basket of vegetables. A child chases a stray dog with an outstretched hand. An old man sits on a stool outside his door, rubbing his hands together for warmth as he watches the street. Nothing here is extraordinary in appearance, yet everything feels quietly precious. This is the world you are returning to. Simple, imperfect, alive. You enter the village without ceremony. No one knows where you have been inside yourself, what you have seen, what you have learned. They see only a traveler walking down the road. But you know that something fundamental has shifted. You no longer need the world to confirm your transformation. You carry it within you. You pass a small well at the center of the village square and pause. The stone rim is smooth from years of use. A rope hangs from a wooden beam, attached to a bucket that disappears into the cool dark below. You place your hands on the stone and look down into the well. You see your reflection, faint and shifting in the moving water. For a moment, you remember the many reflections you have seen on this journey. In streams, ponds, still pools. Each time you saw yourself more clearly. Each time you recognized more of who you truly were beneath your roles, your fears, your old stories. Now as you look into the well, you see a face that is no longer searching for permission to exist. You see someone who has learned to stand with themselves without turning away. A small voice interrupts your thoughts. You turn and see a child looking up at you, their eyes wide with curiosity. They ask you where you came from, where you are going, why you are standing alone at the well. There is no suspicion in their voice, only openness. You smile softly and tell them that you have been walking for a long time, that you are still walking, that sometimes the journey is inside even when your feet are still. The child listens, tilts their head, and then smiles as if this explanation makes perfect sense. Children often understand more than adults think they do. They live closer to truth, closer to presence. They do not need everything to be logical if it feels honest. You find a place to sit on a low stone wall near the edge of the square. People pass by, engaged in their daily tasks. Some glance at you for a moment and then return to their thoughts. One or two nod politely. A woman carrying bread slows down and offers you a small piece. You accept it with gratitude, feeling the warm weight of it in your hands. When you take a bite, it tastes simple and real. Not like a grand gift, but like something shared in the quiet language of humanity. You are reminded that you do not need grand moments to feel the touch of connection. Often it is the small gestures that carry the deepest meaning. As the village continues its rhythm around you, you begin to notice how your inner changes shape the way you see everything. You see impatience in someone's face, yet you also see the tiredness behind it. You see someone speaking too loudly, but you also sense their need to be heard. You see someone withdrawn and distant, and you feel the echo of your own past quietness in them. You no longer judge as quickly. You no longer separate yourself so sharply. You feel a deep tenderness toward the very human struggle of learning how to live. You realize that to live with an open heart does not mean you must take on everyone's pain. It does not mean you must say yes when you mean no. It does not mean you must give away your peace to keep others comfortable. Living with an open heart means something simpler and stronger. It means you remain present. You speak honestly. You offer kindness where you can. You set boundaries when you need to. You allow others to be as they are while you remain true to who you are. It is not your task to heal everyone, but your presence can be part of the healing of the world simply by being sincere. You stand and walk slowly through the streets, feeling the earth beneath your feet, hearing the quiet layers of sound that weave together. Footsteps, doors closing, voices calling, a pot clinking somewhere inside a home. Once these sounds might have blended into meaningless noise. Now they feel like the pulse of a living place. You are not separate from it. You are one moving piece in a larger pattern. The awareness that your energy matters, that your state of being ripples outward, stays with you as a gentle reminder. You reach the far side of the village and step out again onto the open path. The sky above is beginning to shift toward late afternoon, the light warming into soft gold. You pause and look back one more time. The village looks peaceful from here. Not because everything is perfect, but because you can see it with softer eyes. You silently send a blessing to the people there, a quiet wish that they may find their own moments of stillness, their own paths of healing, their own inner sanctuary. Then you turn forward again. The path stretches out, familiar yet fresh. You do not know exactly where it will lead from here. Perhaps to new places, new people, new lessons. Perhaps back to familiar spaces where you will now enter as someone different. You understand now that every step you take has meaning, even when the destination is not clear. You have learned to walk not just with your feet, but with your heart. You feel no rush to arrive anywhere. The need to use the journey as proof of your worth has faded. You are not walking to become someone else. You are walking to live more deeply as yourself. The old pressure to be impressive, to be perfect, to be endlessly strong has loosened. In its place, something quieter has emerged. A desire to be real, to be kind, to be honest, to be awake. As you walk, you carry the awareness that there will still be hard days. There will still be moments when you forget what you have learned, when old fears rise quickly, when your inner flame flickers. But you no longer see these moments as failures. You see them as reminders, invitations to return. You know now where your sanctuary is. You know how to listen. You know how to sit with yourself instead of abandoning yourself. You know how to forgive, how to release, how to soften into what is true. The path moves gently through fields touched by the fading light. A bird crosses the sky. A distant sound of water reaches your ears. You feel the simple beauty of being here in this moment, breathing. Not performing, not proving, just being. You place a hand over your heart and feel its rhythm. It has carried you through every part of this journey, even when you ignored it, even when you doubted it. Now you walk in partnership with it. You whisper into the quiet air, "I will walk with you." And for the first time, you truly mean it. You continue forward step by step, carrying peace not as something you hold tightly or protect fearfully, but as something you let flow through you, like light, like breath, like a quiet blessing offered to everything your life touches. And though your journey will go on in ways seen and unseen, you know this. From this moment on, whatever comes, you will not walk as you once did. You will walk as an open heart,